Hello, everybody. How's everything going on this Saturday evening? Chat with Al. We have Ron Juckett with us. Look at that handsome fella. He's a handsome fella. How are you, Mr. Ron?
So when's your cataract surgery, Al?
Well, okay, here's a funny story. I
Okay.
went to the eye doctor, right?
Yep.
And he was like, "Drop your pants." I went, "Wait a second. I fell for this at the dentist." I go, "What do you mean about drop my pants?" I go, "We're gonna check out your eyeballs." I go, "Really?" Oh, and it was like,
Yes. At least your dentist was female.
at least.
Okay. No, I thought you were Lord Lindsay Young there. Hello, Cleveland. I'm doing fine. Good Saturday. Good Saturday. Did for Retro Sports Network. We finished up our 1978 NFL regular season.
Awesome stuff.
You were looking for a team that wanted to win and make it in the playoffs. Well, you're going to be sorely disappointed because we did 6 of those games this week and only one team did the win and in thing. But it was a lot of fun, including my first ever football doubleheader today. We had San Francisco and Detroit, with Detroit having a chance to get in and win, and they didn't do it. And tonight we had your 7-year-old self must have been so thrilled to see New England go into Miami.
Absolutely.
And smash the bejesus out of it.
All right, you gave it away. I kept waiting for them to choke, right?
So did I.
And then Dave Little goes, "Why is Steve Grogan?" Or not Dave Little.
Dave Gardner.
Dave Gardner goes, "Why is Steve Grogan running?" I went, "What? Is he nuts?" Grogan was a running quarterback, and because Grogan, my favorite football player, right? And it was funny because I was like, I went back and go, I think he averaged like I was close. It was 6.7 yards he averaged that year because I remembered that 78 team.
I only remember Grogan the statue, which wasn't quite as bad as Bledsoe.
Well, he was right. He was beat up by then, and I knew what you and Dave Gardner meant. I was just because he was beat up. He was, the years he played on those few bad teams, and even when he played on those good teams, right? He took a beating because he was a running quarterback.
Right.
So let's just go to the chat real quick. I'm going to go to the chat and say hello to Phantomatic, JD, The Dog Show, and Living My Rhapsody. Check out all those great channels. And JD, I would like you to put and anyone else, Dog or Living My Rhapsody, you have wrenches for a reason. Please put links of your last videos or a video you like to share with the community in the chat, please. Dog, put in also the show you're going to have with Milt tomorrow. So,
well, what's he doing with Milt? I suppose I could look over in the chat.
Oh no, Dog and Milt, they do a thing on Sundays like top 5.
Oh yeah, I caught a couple of those.
Yeah. So, all right, Ron, I'm going to put a couple of things of yours in the chat that I really like. So the show is yours. I'm going to actually drop the camera because I don't want to see people like watch me as I bungle around trying to get where I'm supposed to be. So
that's why I have 3 different scenes set up. So yeah, we just finished that, and I believe I did like 38-40 games, and was really fun. A playoff start Christmas night, if you're into that sort of thing. I can't wait, Al, for the response. Oh, his mic is muted too. For wild card games this week, we have the Giants. Somehow were finished 8-8 and survived all that carnage in the NFC, and they'll play the Redskins Christmas night. And then on Thursday at lunch, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, who somehow were 4-12 in real life, but 10-6 in our replay, and the Cleveland Browns. So that's fun. And they're doing some basketball too, and we'll talk a little bit more about what Action PC Baseball 19, which came out. And so I did a 2.5-hour live stream the other night. So how are you guys doing out there? Are you all set for Christmas? So good to see Bobby and Living My Rhapsody and Dog here, and good to have you with us and all that. So you set for Christmas? You guys got any good plans for Christmas? My wife works because it's extra money. We don't have any children, so don't have to worry about that. We did our holiday party last week, and so she makes, I don't know, I mean, she's got a little French in her, so she makes a little Alsbach pork pie. Have you ever heard of that?
What was it, Ron?
Sarah, I was talking about, what Sarah and I do for Christmas, and she makes a pork pie. I don't think you have a lot of French down in your part of the world.
Well, there's French all over the place.
But what she does is she makes, it's a pie shell, and they will
Yep.
go, and I think she got to go tomorrow and get it, or maybe she got it today. The local grocery stores will ground her up a pound of pork, and she mixes it with some hamburger and puts a little bit of spices in it, not like a meatball, and probably a little onion.
It's like a meat pie then.
It's a meat
Right.
pie essentially,
Yeah.
and she'll take it with some mashed potato on top
Yeah.
and serve it with gravy. And
Sounds good to me.
oh my God, is it good?
Now, Ron, tell us about your wife's adventure today at the mall.
Well, apparently, we're down to one mall in our large Vermont city, which would be just a suburb where Al is, and for most people. And so it's 3 days before Christmas, and she's trying to finish Christmas shopping for me and get some grocery shopping done and blah 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 blah. And she calls me about 2 o'clock and says that they've all been thrown out of the mall. There's been a bomb scare, and would everyone please leave? Now, our malls, just like most malls that are in decent shape in the country, it's a mix of chains. We just got a Target and an H&M and local stores like the one I used to work. And so obviously nothing seriously happened, but for these local stores where we do 40% of our business between Thanksgiving and Christmas, can you imagine the Saturday before Christmas being closed for 2 hours?
Yeah, that stinks. You lost a lot of business there. Let me go to the chat real quick for a second, Ron. The Dog Show says Ninja and I will be on 7:30 Eastern Standard Time Sunday on the Dog Show. Game of Thrones raid night. We're partying up and taking down NK, the Night King. I'm kind of rooting for the Night King. I mean, I know that's blasphemous, but I kind of like the.
Are they related to the Starks?
No, the Starks are, everyone, all at once, stupid. Bobby Cantilano is in the chat. Living My Rhapsody, JD, The Dog Show, Phantomatic, others watching. Devin might be joining us. I don't know. I sent him a link. Maybe Devin's joined those people who don't like me anymore. No, I'm just that list grows each and every time I stream. No. Anyway.
That's not true. You're steady.
It's true. No love. No love. No, I'm kidding.
True story. Because you can now look in your YouTube numbers and see where you lost, what videos lost you subscribers.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. We can go through that. That'll be hilarious.
And so I went through. I looked because I thought I had been all gain, and then I saw there was a -1. The last 2 Cowboy games I've done, I've lost subscribers. They're also the most, like the real Dallas Cowboys, are the most watched stuff on the channel.
Yeah, it's funny, same with me.
But I lose subscribers when I do a Cowboy game.
Yeah, but you know what that could be? Silly people.
Danny White fans?
Danny White fans. Mary B's in the chat. How you doing? So, anyhow, we're gonna do a little of this. We'll do a little of our trivia thing. Terry T's in the chat. How you doing? We'll also do. I heard something. I'm gonna have a little more information on this for the Game of Thrones fans. I heard that Cersei Lannister is mentoring a young man from the Peanuts, and I believe it's Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown is going to be mentored by Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones to try to toughen him up a bit to take on that bitch Lucy when he tries to kick the football.
About to say, what does this mean for Lucy?
Oh, it means bad news for Lucy. I want to see, and from what I understand, Chuck has taken a shining to Cersei Lannister. He looks up to her like the, older sister he's never had, and she's toughening him up a bit. He's not going to take that crap anymore from Lucy.
Kind of ignored Charlie Brown over the years anyway. I mean, they live together, but they don't really have a brother-sister relationship. They never had a brother-sister relationship.
And what I'm sensing here with this, and we'll have more on this in our we have some information. I just have to try to confirm it. Regarding Cersei and Charlie Brown, it's a unique friendship they have because they're like the odd couple. They are definitely the odd couple. Charlie Brown, a passive kind of nice kid, and Cersei Lannister's Cersei Lannister. Don't get in her way; she'll kill you.
So did Peppermint Patty introduce the two?
Well, there is a bit of tension now with Chuck and Peppermint Patty because Peppermint Patty feels that Cersei's moving in on. Now, Peppermint Patty has been rumored to have an alternative lifestyle, which is fine with me. Marcy might be her live-in roommate or special friend, possibly whatever. And there's a little tension here because she does like Chuck, and she does like Chuck a lot because she calls him Chuck. And she didn't like that Cersei now calls Charlie Brown Charles.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
So there's some tension in the Game of Thrones and
now,
Peanuts community now.
if if a certain member of the Game of Thrones community dyes her hair red, then you know that
Well,
something's seriously up.
yes, because who did Chuck like?
The
The
little red,
curly hair redheaded girl. This is also another thing that Cersei Lannister's been helping, as she calls him, Charles, with his confidence, to get his confidence up, because she really thinks that he should be going out with that little redheaded curly redheaded girl, and that nothing should stand in his way. And she's going to show the ins and outs of winning, as she puts it. When you play the Game of Thrones, you play to win. And Charles, as she calls him, and again, this is all coming from good sources. This is good, accurate stuff. What she calls Charles, she's very fun. It's a very strange, unique relationship that they have. She's been at his baseball games, and he's actually pitched well of late in winter ball.
Whoa.
Very impressive. Yeah, and Snoopy seems to get along with her too. It's a very and the bird, who I can't think of his Woodstock. So,
how's Linus making this? Because Linus
has been sort of like Charlie Brown's advisor, and Linus again. If you know Linus, another pleasant child, but Linus takes no crap. He's a little tougher than Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
As we witness, he will whip you with his blankie. Linus is tougher than people think. Linus recently kicked the shit out of a bully in school. Man, he took no prisoners. Linus is a little tougher.
I've heard this rumor before, and I can't corroborate it, but it's well known in the underground Peanuts community that Linus is a top-level dungeon master in the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons.
I believe so, and he's also goes to the school of Jackie Chan.
Oh, he does.
People don't know that about Linus.
Characters that you may not remember from Peanuts, such as Pigpen, who you didn't see very often the last few years.
Pigpen, you didn't see him, but you smelled him definitely.
Oh, absolutely. And the original Patty, not to be confused with Peppermint Patty.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. She had brown hair, right?
Yes.
Did she have brown hair? And it looked. Yeah, I remember that. You're right. That's old. Yeah, they didn't use her in too many.
Rumors have it.
Yes. What rumors?
Corroborate this.
Yes.
That Linus has really banished them to a cave in a Dungeons and Dragons adventure, and they can't get out.
Well, you don't mess with Linus, just like you don't spit in the wind.
You don't tug on Superman's cape.
It's cape. Yes. You don't spit in the wind, and you don't mess with Jim, which in this case you don't mess with Linus. Linus has, the only thing why Linus doesn't do a job on Lucy is because it's his sister. It's a family thing, and there's some tension there. So Linus is trying to work that out, but Cersei's, it's going to be interesting to see how Charles, as Cersei Lannister calls him, will come through this. The Cubs and Bears has entered the chat. He wishes everyone a Merry Christmas. And that was our little gossip for Game of Thrones and Peanuts. This is very interesting stuff. You don't get this on everyone's channel.
No,
this is real life. This is Charlie Brown reaching out, wanting to better himself, just toughen up a bit. We all love Charlie. He's not going to change. He's still a good kid. But the shining that Cersei Lannister has taken to, once again, she calls him Charles. And Linus likes her, Snoopy likes her, Woodstock likes her. This is a whole nother side we've not seen of Cersei Lannister. It's unbelievable.
What about Bert and Ernie?
Well, Bert and Ernie, we have some rumors about that. I have not been able to confirm them yet, and we will not. When I'm able to get a little more information on that, we'll see how that's going with Bert and Ernie. There's some tension between Bert and Ernie, but I think they can work it out.
And so how many subscribers did that little exchange cost you?
Probably 13. Let's go back to the chat here. You guys didn't see that coming, did you? The dog shows Peppermint Patty had a thing for Chuck. Yes. Definitely. We've discussed this. Definitely Peppermint Patty's hot for Charlie Brown. Definitely. And for Marcy. I agree. There's a little...
If Schultz was a little more Californian and a little less Minnesotan. If they were older, they would have had one of those polyamorous relationships.
Dave Gardner's entered the chat. What's that link of his, Ron? Can you tell me?
HockeyTournaments.com. If you are an adult looking to play in a hockey tournament or an organizer looking to have some of the best teams come to your tournament, HockeyTournaments.com is where you should go.
Where should we go again, Ron?
HockeyTournaments.com. www.hockeytournaments.com.
Thank you, good sir. So Dave Gardner says Bert was a Pats fan, Ernie's like a Jets fan. That could be a little tension there. You know, for all the people they probably murdered together, this is what's really put a bump in their relationship. I can see Bert.
In all seriousness,
yes.
You know, and it says, I'm not making this part up. Do you remember back in the early days of the internet, the website?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
BertIsEvil.com?
Yeah.
If you don't remember this,
I heard of it. I'm not saying I went there, but I've heard of that. Yeah, BertIsEvil.com.
On there. I mean, it was, you know, back when websites weren't very complex, and so you'd spend a half hour laughing at the stuff there, as opposed to the rabbit hole you could quickly fall into today. It supposedly had CIA interviews with Ernie, and you know, you were joking, well, show the monkey on the monkey, where'd the monkey touch you? You know, that sort of thing with Ernie. I mean, quite sadistic.
Bert definitely has a frown face. Phantomatic, why do you feel like an outcast? Talk to us, Phantomatic. I don't like when people feel like an outcast. I hope you're joking about that. Everyone's welcome here. The Cubs, the Bears even shows up, and we love him. He hates everything I talk about, but he shows up. And we're going to be getting to some Action PC Baseball. Ron Juckett, I put the link in the chat. I'm going to put it again because I realized as soon as I put it, I forgot to type that this is a promo or a first look at Action PC Baseball 19. So that's going to be going back in the chat shortly, and also a couple of his football games that he did today, which are absolutely awesome. And if you love baseball, Out of the Park 19's on sale. 75% off, and that puts it at $4.99. That's a must buy, in my opinion.
That's incredible.
Anyhow, I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. My left eyeball seems like it's gonna pop out of my head. So if that happens, this could be YouTube gold.
It's Twitch material.
It's definitely Twitch material. Also, we're gonna be doing a little trivia a little bit later, like we did. We're waiting for Phantomatic. I don't know. I hope he's joking around. You should never feel like an outcast in my chat. We always talk about something that everyone's going to know about. So,
right. I mean, even I did well in Star Wars trivia.
And that was incredible. Ron's like, let's do the Star Wars trivia. And he's like, I'm going to do horrible. And like you hit it out of the ballpark on most of them. That was pretty fun.
The movies.
That was pretty fun. They had some interesting, the whole midget thing. That was wild. That was a wild question. Luke Skywalker as a midget.
I just can't imagine that.
How many mushrooms did they smoke to think up that one?
I was actually watching because Penny Marshall had died, and so a couple Cindy Williams things had popped up into my YouTube. You know, look at this, and unfortunately, it's Cindy Williams as an older person, not Cindy Williams as the hottie that she was in the 70s. And one of them was that she had discussed with George Lucas that he had originally offered her the role of Princess Leia.
I could see that though. Very similar look with her and Penny. Oh my God, Carrie Fisher. And Nancy T's got to go. So thank you very much for stopping by.
Merry Christmas, Nancy.
Merry Christmas, Nancy T. And I could see that. I definitely could see Penny Cindy Williams, excuse me. The very similar look to Carrie Fisher. You know what's kind of funny? I think, and Dog could probably know, or anyone else in the chat. I think Cindy Williams beat out Carrie Fisher for the role in American Graffiti.
Well, Carrie would have been too young.
Yeah, I thought I read. See, that's why when I thought I read that, I didn't know if that was accurate.
Carrie was only 19 when she played Leia, and American Graffiti was filmed in 71 or 72.
Yes.
So
she would have been, yeah, so that couldn't have been right. I knew that didn't sound right. I knew that didn't sound right when I read that. So can't always believe everything you read unless it's on this show. If it's on this show, you believe it.
Oh, Dave says he saw the screen test with Cindy, and I saw that also pop up earlier too. I haven't watched. But yeah, I mean, but I wondered because Cindy was quite established. I mean, by the time that Star Wars came out, Laverne and Shirley was the #1 show on television.
Yeah, it was a very popular show. Very popular show.
And so I just wondered because I mean, I think what made that work, with the exception of Harrison Ford, who was also in American Graffiti.
The dog show's referencing Jefferson Starr Airplane. One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small.
Yeah, see, Dog is right. She was, but was getting too well known. I mean, that was the magic of that main cast, was that no one really knew him.
Harrison Ford probably was the most well-known person there. And how well-known? I mean, he was in American Graffiti. I don't know what he was in before Star Wars, to be honest with you. Then his career totally took off.
Mm-hmm.
As Bobby Cantillano says, if it's on the internet, it must be true. Not really.
Abe Lincoln says that all the time.
Yes. As JD says, 100% true. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. So, Mr. Ron, I'm going to put back Ron did a wonderful. We're going to talk a little Action PC baseball now for some of the sports fans in the chat. Ron did a first look at Action PC Baseball 2019, and I'll let him discuss that, his thoughts. I've played a couple of exhibition games. I've not gone all the way through it. I kind of like a couple of things you said when I watched your because I missed it live, and unfortunately I caught the end of it, and then I rewatched everything. I like that they look like baseball cards. I did like that. So let me put that back in the chat because I messed that up the first time.
Or Max Cornelius, because I started the stream kind of unexpectedly, and the first little part was me blabbing because I was installing the game, so there wasn't anything to show. And so Max Cornelius stayed for a good half hour.
Oh, Max is the best. Max is so nice.
Else is there. You're the one that reminded me the game was coming out Thursday night, because I blocked out Friday to do it. I was going to get in the morning and sit there and go, okay, we're going to do
it late there.
And then you reminded me that Thursday was the 20th and not Friday. Tells you just how observant I am. And so, I came out right about 5:55 Eastern time on there, and I grabbed it along with a few other people because the server speeds went, oh
my God.
And so I went through. If you go back and look, I set up a ballpark. I did logos for a couple teams. And then I played a game from 1919 and a game from 1958.
1958. Dodgers Giants.
First
1958. The 1919 was the White Sox and the Red Sox, I think.
Yes, it wasn't actual lineups, but it was a.
I don't think they. Do they have the actual lineups that late? Early?
Yes, they don't have them for that early, but Retro Sheet gets about for more and more seasons every year. He should have it up now.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes it's fun just to play with whoever the heck you want to play with.
It is, but I tend to do as for these.
Right. You're doing but would you ever do a replay that early? 1919.
Would I? No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I had a request for early games, and our friend Beatles Eternally.
Oh, Beatles, big. He likes the old school baseball.
It was playing that earlier today, and Clifton Parks was doing.
Clinton did 1908. I just finished listening to that.
Yeah, I was doing laundry. Too. So I'm delighted that there are people who are interested in doing that. No, I want. I'm not real familiar with Dead Ball, and so I don't want to do anything that I'm not. I don't want to do a disservice to that. Kind of like if someone said, would you do a football game from the 1940s? Okay, I know they ran a T in a single wing.
They sure did, and they ran it a lot.
And I'm familiar with what the Redskins did to the Bears in the 40 championship game.
Yeah, 73-0.
Yeah, but beyond that, if I sat there and ran, two wide, modern setups with that, it just wouldn't. It just wouldn't be that football.
Because if Action PC football, you can do certain, but they're not capable of playing that way. So it is kind of fun to play some of the older teams. I've done that. There's an old Boston team way back when, and they were horrendous. And I actually played them against the Tom Brady Patriots. It was not pretty, folks. I play as a weaker team all the time. Like, oh my God, I can't stop these guys. But they couldn't stop my running, so.
Yeah, and so if you're going to seriously get in, I mean, once in a while for giggles, that's fine. But if you're going to do a tournament or a replay or even a Final Four, if you're going to take 2 or 3 nights and emphasize teams from that era, you should have some idea of how they actually played.
Yeah. What I like to do, I go to Baseball Reference a lot for the older teams just to get a feel for what was their most popular lineup. And when I do my one and done tournaments, you know me, I make everyone eligible just because it's a one and done. And it's a one and done. So,
well, I mean, you've got the ultimate Cinderella. The Atlanta Braves should be nowhere near your final, and here they are.
But you know what's funny about that? Now, again, we're talking one and done, and one and done, anything can happen. You have Phil Niekro, who won 19 games, right?
Right.
Good pitcher. His ERA is under 3, means he had no run support. Then you have Larry McWilliams, not a bad pitcher, okay? Their top 3 guy, and then I always mess his name up. Mahler. I'm sorry. Mahler, thank you. Serviceable. Now, when you're in a one and done, you could sit there and go, well, if I get a good start, I'm looking at, and then you get lucky. The way I play a one and done, when I play poor teams, if you watched me, I play a ton of hit and run because I have to get something moving. Now, when it doesn't work, Al, Red Sox fan, looks like an absolute idiot running into double plays, strike them out, throw them out, double. But usually I do it with guys who make good contact and guys who are throwing strikes. So, but in one and dones, you can. Now, if we played out that Atlanta year, like if I sat there and played it out, it's going to come pretty close.
You're not going to get 71s out of that team.
No, you might, if you're lucky, get a couple more wins. You might get 70. Right. You know what I mean? But you're not going to improve if you play straight up. I played straight up my 1964 season with Tony Calignero's first year. It drives me nuts, the lineups they put out there. I'm like, oh God, can I just move this guy out of this position?
Right. But no, I mean, so the thing with that, I mean, I did the 19 and the 58 games because those were the seasons that came with the deluxe package, which I think is the one that sells the most.
Yeah, that's so a 3-season.
Had the season anyway, and so But what did I notice that was new?
Hold on a second, Ron. We're talking because I went off on a little. Ron's giving his review on. He's already done it. I put the link in the chat above. His first look at Action PC Baseball for our sports fans. Don't go away if you're not a sports fan. We started off with non-sports. I gave you the good gossip about Cersei and Charlie Brown, and that's true. It's true. Came to you right from the horse's mouth. The person who told me it, that's a fact. Anyway, I like to say hello to Tribes Fan Comics with Bueller, Dave Little. Hello. Okay, back to Ron with his thoughts on Action PC Baseball 2019, which came out on Thursday.
Yeah, because you reminded me of that, because I would have assumed Friday. Anyway, real quick, the graphics I think are a little bit better. Pitchers now will pitch from the correct side of the mound. So when we first worked on it, Max and I and Ralphie Boy and I were watching it a while, it took us until a left-hander came in and said, oh, they're throwing from the base side. So that looks a little different.
That was different. I put a comment in your comment section because when I was playing the exhibition game, I'm listening to your review and I'd go and I'd look at it, right? And I went, that makes sense. I'm like, the ball kind of looks weird coming in because it used to be
the first game. When I did the 58 game, I had to create that stadium on the fly. I had the picture for it. Yeah. But if you're not familiar with it, in order to get the video chalkboard thing to work correctly, you got to place things in the correct spots, and that's okay as long as you know you got to do it. I'm enrolled hand at that now. I only bored 2 or 3 people to death with that one.
I think I have to be honest with you. I think that is a really good thing you did because you're showing.
Oh, that's why I did it. Yeah.
You told us you gave a really thorough walkthrough for a first look, in my opinion.
And so, thank you. So we get the first game, and it's a stadium. You can add whatever picture you want and put players and whatever. It's quite customizable that way. A lot more so than trying to do that in a Stratomatic computer game.
Oh my God!
And so the first.
Don't get me started.
It looked like to me I'd put the pitcher spot in the wrong spot. It's coming out at this terrible angle. And we're going through and I'm not paying too much attention to it. Realize, okay, I'm not going to fix it during the game. Next one I know, I'm using the stock picture of Fenway, which I don't use for replays. But, so it keeps doing it from that angle. And I forget which one of us picked it up. It's like, oh, they're throwing from the correct
I think Max typed something, and then you looked at it. I'm trying to remember, and you said, "Oh yeah, that's what it is."
Yeah,
Because then
no,
you had a back and forth. Max being in the chat typing,
right.
and you talking.
So that they could probably tone that down a little bit. And the major error for me in the chalkboard is a ground ball past third, and you read the play-by-play, it's in the hole between third and short. They fixed that. So ground balls in the hole between third and short actually look like that. A little more graphical, I think, in the pitching changes department. There's a little more statistics for you to look at.
Yep.
In the game itself, there are a lot of new statistics. OPS is featured a lot more. Overall, I mean, it's my primary game of choice. I know a lot of people that watch the channel are fans of OOTP.
I like both. I'm on it. I play a ton of both.
For a fictional simulator, you can't beat what OOTP can do.
My foot.
But I prefer Action PC for a replay engine, and so it's an automatic buy for me every year anyway. But no, I think it's good. I didn't read too many complaints in the forum. So what I do there is we go through. There's no changes in how you do the mods, which may or may not be good because it always confuses people.
I think about the mod. Are you talking about putting in the pictures and stuff?
What I did was the logos of the teams, because they're ship with any team names, you got to put those in. That hasn't changed. Putting a logo when it hasn't changed.
All people, in my opinion, it's easier to put photos in Action PC than it is Out of the Park, because every time the new Out of the Park game comes out, I'm like, it's mind numbing. I have to sit there and go, like, I'm okay. How did I do this last time? Instead of just putting them in the stupid photo file, you have to go and shut this thing off and click this thing. Wow. If you don't do that, but when you start a season, you are screwed. I've literally started. Granted, I didn't play too much of them. As soon as the photos don't show up right, I'm mad and I want them right.
All right.
In Action PC, you know what would be cool? You know how whether it's a rectangle or now you can have an oval or a circle. If they could somehow make it look like a little guy. They don't have to make it like OTP, but or keep the picture up if you want that. I think Action PC is a really fun game. I like the chalkboard animation for the baseball. I didn't see, again, I played 2 exhibition games with the Great Team League, and I enjoyed it. From what I saw, again, the mechanics are really similar. It's still similar. I thought we were going to get a few more, and maybe we are, just I didn't fall into the situations. I thought we were going to get a few more things defensively that we could do, but
shift. I think there is. Look, I had inside the park home run, which I don't think I've ever had before.
I had one. It's funny when you hit your inside the park home run. I was playing the the Trish Speaker Red Sox against the 1976 Cincinnati Reds. Literally about a minute after you did yours, Trish Speaker hit a inside the park home run in Fenner. I was laughing.
That's funny, and I
wanted to message you or something, like get you on and go, oh my God, Ron, you'll never guess. I just had an inside the park home run after you had an inside the park home run.
And I guess someone played an early game using Pedro Martinez with the Red Sox against Tampa, and he beat someone, and there was a fight, which happened.
Oh, they have a brawl now?
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. So, that's cool.
So, no, overall, it's very good. So if you want to go back and see, the only big change I saw in putting the stadiums together is that where you put the little counter things for the wall, they're now truly different colors. The top is white and the bottom is blue, as opposed to different shades of red.
Clinton Parks joined us in the chat. Clinton, there's a link above for Ron Juckett. He did a wonderful, beautiful first look at Action PC 2019, and all the Action PC games are on sale on Dave Koch Incorporated.
Right.
So we also had comics with Bueller in the chat. He just had a stream yesterday with the man. If he's still in the chat, comics, he had the person who's developed this comic book app that tells you how much comics are for. It was absolutely awesome. I watched about.
Oh wow! Look.
Oh, it's awesome. Comics with Bueller. It's the last one he did yesterday. It's it's his Friday night stream, and I'll go. Actually, I'm going to put the link in a second. I'll find it. But he had the person on who tells you how much comics are, like what's hot and why he thinks it's going to be hot and this and that. I watched about an hour as I was getting my stream ready to go. I did a little trivia on Citadel for Trivia, check them out on Fridays. And then I watched some Bueller, and I was getting my football stream ready to go because I didn't start that till like 10 something. And then I was yakking away with the chat. And I look up and like, wow, we went like 2.5 hours. It was a fun game. I lost it because I always lose. But anyway, but the comics, it's a comic app. And I don't know if Bueller's still in here, but I'll find it and I'll put it in there. It was very, very interesting. With because
I remember buying a couple issues of The Wizard because my wife used to have a decent collection and she sold them.
But what this app does, thank you, dog. What this app does, like if you're searching for a specific comic or you find a comic and say like as Bueller says, like a 50-cent bin, and you look it up and go, oh my God, this is like, yeah, I'm buying this for 50 cents, but it could be worth $25, $30, $50. You know what I mean?
It depends on pretty good at picking those out too.
Oh yeah, Comics with Bueller?
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love that show.
Yeah.
I love that show. So I'm going to find that after and I'll put it in. It was really interesting. I was looking forward to it. And the person it seems like a really nice person. Again, I'm bad with names, and Comics with Bueller does so much with that community, the comic books community with smaller channels. It's unbelievable, like where he promotes them and he helps them.
Has he hooked up with our friend Alpine?
I don't think so. You know what? That's a good idea. Alpine, because he does a few. I'd like to get him on here, actually, on a chat.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe, but I know he's had issues because he streams from his phone.
From his phone, but you just look. So it's a 9:16 picture as opposed to a 16:9.
Yeah, I think we could do that. I think we could do that.
Yeah.
So that's a great idea. I was thinking about that. I'm gonna have to send him the only way I can get a hold of him is through YouTube, but I'll find him on the message he sent me and reply. That's a great idea, man.
Do that because he does an interesting things with those too, and he desperately wants to stream some games. But I think if we hooked him up with Comics with Bueller, I think they would both have a blast with each other.
Yeah, because he's another. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll have to, see what Bueller thinks. So Bueller's a busy guy now.
Yes, he is.
His channel is taking off, because. The thing with Comics with Bueller is he's a good guy. You watch him, you just smile. I can be having a crappy day at work, right? I put Comics with Bueller on, right? And I just listen a bit. He'll say something. I smile. I feel a little better. Then I go back to my miserable self. But I feel good for a little bit, So, but anyhow, that was, again, Ron Juckett. I put the link in the stream. His first look at 2019 Action PC
you never
baseball.
Told me what you wanted for a season to put in the poll, Mr. Red Sox fan.
Oh, I like anything you do because you're going to do something that I'm familiar with.
Do you have I mean, is the 80s, 70s, 70s,
well,
60s?
Here's the thing. One of my favorite baseball years is 1988 Morgan Magic.
Okay.
That's one of mine. I might be doing something there too, but I don't know. But that doesn't mean that. What I'm saying is, if I was going to tell you one, it'd be 1988 because
that's why I want to know. So
because that's one of my favorite seasons. It's very strange. The Red Sox win the World Series in 2004, right? You'd think that's one of my. Obviously, I love that season, right? But 1988, when the Red Sox came out, you remember they fired McNamara because they were horrible.
I actually prayed. I was so happy when they fired McNamara.
Yeah, he didn't seem like a good guy. Again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't seem like from what. And I have some slight insight into that because our good friend Ken Castro was a sports writer, actually was on the Red Sox beat. I've gotten some interesting stories from Ken if you've been in one of our older chats. And I'd like to get Ken Castro on, but he used to cover the Red Sox. He told me some really, because I would ask him, like, how's this guy? How's that guy? And I don't think McNamara was too, I'm from baseball wise, whatever.
25 cabs.
Yeah. 1988. I like 1988, Ron.
So we're going to I'm going to put that up tomorrow when we go through the regular season and what I'm doing next in that. So there'll probably be a couple older seasons. But yeah, I mean, you guys are going to be able to select what season I do within reason. 1909 is not going to be one I do.
Well, that's not your thing.
No,
I'm like you. I listened to you. I don't know if it was today or the other day. I want to do. I like the '80s. I like '70s and late '70s. I like
I
the
did
'70s. Like
four and
I
a half
even like the
hours of
'60s.
live streaming on Thursday. Al.
So, uh,
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, I mean, that's what Ralphie boy. By the way, his he came on a couple days ago and said, "Oh, was talking about how tough 80-yard drives were in football games."
I know I saw that.
And then we had like 4 or 5 of them in a row that went for touchdowns. So now every 80-yard drive is
You
going to be a
call.
Ralphie boy drive.
Yeah, it's funny. All right, let's go to the chat real quick. Good job, dog. Good job, dog. Moderator. We had something in there. Gone
Yeah.
now. Good. That's
So
Ron. When you see me, Ron, when you see me stop talking and I kind of look like this,
I flipped over. I got them both open now.
Because I'm trying to debate. Like I read something. I'm like, what the, Anyway, good job, dog.
Popular
So
now.
the popular.
Started too. So
The,
if Dorothy equals Leia, would Dorothy be Luke and R2D2 equals Toto?
Ooh, I like that.
Sounds like a killer song.
It does.
Oh, Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. Okay, I get it now. Really, I'm slow, Moni. I'm slow. Okay, so the Wizard of Oz.
Dog says the Wizard of Oz was a political parody referencing someone back in our history. I like the Wizard of Oz. They used to show that all the time around Easter. I've already discussed this. My nieces are petrified of the flying monkeys. I thought the Beatles Eternity's in the chat.
Hey, we were just talking about you.
We were talking about you, Beatles. Were your ears ringing? We were talking baseball. Dun, 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 dun.
I got a story about that movie.
Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz.
Yes, let's hear it. Wizard of Oz story from Uncle Ron. Story time. Everyone pay attention.
Margaret Hamilton.
Yes.
Who played the big bad witch. And who also got severely sick from the paint that they used.
Well, they did not use good paint.
No, I mean, it's Buddy Epson, by the way, was supposed to from Beverly Hillbillies.
They painted him with lead paint.
Right.
And he got sick. He almost died.
Tin Man, and he couldn't do it. And so he had to bow out. This isn't the story I was going to tell. And Ray Bolger ended up playing that role. Yep. So years later, I think Margaret Hamilton's grandchildren watched the movie with some friends of theirs, and their friends got scared because she's playing the Wicked Witch of the West. And so she called Fred Rogers and said, "Can I come
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers, yeah.
Okay.
Can I come on your show and talk about playing that, playing that character?"
Wow, cool.
And he said, absolutely. And so I was never a big Mr. Rogers fan, but within the last month or so, I watched this 15-minute segment of her just looking like this gentle old grandma. And she puts on the costume and they talk about being make-believe. I remember she pitched coffee. She wasn't Mrs. Olsen, but I think she did Maxwell House ads or something like that, right?
I don't remember because I have to. The only thing I know her from is The Wizard of Oz, and
she did commercials when you and I were kids.
Okay,
kids. When you were out there in the backyard swearing at your father for things that you didn't do, I was in watching television, but anyway,
you can't prove I did those things. The neighbors.
But yeah, I mean, it's worth to take a look at it. I mean, she did 10, 15 minutes. She slid into the costume. She did the laugh a couple times, but she understood that without meaning to, that she scared young children. And she wanted to get across to the point where it was just
it's make believe. That's awesome. That's a great story. Again, bravo. Story time with Uncle Ron. Yeah. I love it. So Dave Gardner in the chat says she scared the crap out of me in the 70s, LOL. Yeah. The flying, I always thought the flying monkey, here's my take on the Wizard of Oz. I'm pretty sure I've given. I think the good witch, whatever, I don't think the good witch was a good witch. I think I didn't like her because what did she say at the end? Oh, Dorothy, you always have the ability to go home. And, and you're thinking, really? You just made me kill a psychopath, right? Nearly get killed myself, and you're like, oh, Dorothy, thank you for killing the psychopath. You did the dirty work for me. My hands are still clean. Thank you. You could always go home. Just say there's no place like home. And I'm thinking even as a kid, I go, wouldn't this information have been valuable a little while ago? Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Because you want me to whack out the person you couldn't whack out? Because you're the good witch of the whatever the hell you are, the West, and I don't do things. Yeah, those people piss me off. The people who don't get their hands dirty. Oh, I'm the good witch, And I'm thinking about it later as a kid. I'm thinking, how do we know she was a good witch? Huh? I mean, the other one we know was a psychopath. Don't get me wrong. Maybe this one's a psychopath too, just playing it off better. Like Glenn Close at first. In that movie where she killed the rabbit. What the hell with Michael Douglas? What the hell was that movie? I forgot now.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, why do I do this? Come on, someone in the chat's got to find out that movie. Someone knows the movie I'm talking about. Glenn Close, remember? She cooked the freaking kid's pet bunny. She cooked the rabbit. Fatal Attraction. I just thought of it. My eyeball was popping out. Fatal Attraction.
A few ones that didn't have Kathleen Turner in it.
Oh, Kathleen Turner was War of the Roses. Dog City is the dog show says Fatal Attraction. Thank you, Dog.
And Romancing the Stone.
I liked Romancing the Stone. That was a good one.
I just remember Kathleen Turner and being
she was good looking. She was good.
She is now.
Yeah.
No one's
I'll tell you. You know what I had a thing for? I guess we're going to talk about.
No one has anything for Kathleen Turner anymore.
No, I'll tell you. It sounds a little weird. Terry Garr. I
can see that.
Terry Garr. I was watching Young Frankenstein like for the first time on VCR. Like when you get the full. I mean, not that there's anything bad in it, but like the little parts they had cut out, I got to actually see when we first got a VCR, and I remember watching it, going, "I'll be right back." And I got up and walked away. Came back, sat back down. I had a thing. I was like, when she did roll in the hay, I was like, oh God, I love her. Anyway, I dated Terry Garr for a while. She didn't know.
Poor Terry Garr actually ended up with multiple sclerosis.
I know, that's awful. You know what does everyone remember Terry Garr she was in Close Encounters in the Third Kind with Richard Dreyfuss. Again, very fun movie. Good movie, but there's a lot of good comedy in that movie. Poor Richard Dreyfuss, he's like, I think, like he thought he was going nuts. Bum, 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 bum. Remember that? Bum, 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 bum. Oh wait, wrong movie.
So Beatles Eternally. What episode in the original Star Trek was she on?
Ooh, yes. Beatles says Terry Garr was in an episode of the original Star Trek. Oh wow.
Did she paint herself green to do Shatner? Oh, that was the movie. I'm sorry.
That was in the regular show too. But yeah, in the movie, that was kind of funny when they played the homage to that part where he had a fling with the green girl. But she was hot though, the green girl, even on the show.
Mr. Mom. I remember that movie. Michael Keaton.
Yep. She went to work, and the guy who was her boss was Martin Mull, I think.
Oh, and Martin actually still had a career?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And who the heck? Jim from Taxi was also in that movie. I never remember his name. Lloyd. Is it Christopher Lloyd?
Yes.
Yeah. He was, remember, he goes, I want one more thing. What's that? Disability. He was going to jump out the window when they were going to lay them off. Well, they actually did lay them off. That was a good movie, Mr. Mom. Beatles Eternally says the episode that Terry Garr was in, Assignment Earth, was the episode. I got to look that up. I like Terry Garr.
That's not like the Twilight Zone when we realized that it's a cookbook.
That, I'm telling you, all right, Twilight Zone. Great segue. We talked about this before. You weren't here last week because you had that wonderful family event. Thank you for sharing that picture with me, Ron. I greatly appreciate that. That was awesome to see your whole family. And everyone's happy, and there's always that one person in the background going.
It wasn't my wife this year. She actually smiled.
No, I think I recognized your wife. She was to the left.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. Everyone was smiling except for that one person. We always have that one person, that family picture.
Yep. Yes.
Dave Garner says, Frau Bueller. Now, Twilight Zone. Everyone's seen the Twilight Zone, right? Rod Sterling, right?
Sterling.
Red Steiger. Sterling.
No, Sterling.
Sterling.
No,
Shamil.
no
Shema.
T. No T.
Right.
Sterling.
Sterling.
No.
No.
Sterling. No T.
Sterling.
Yes, Rod
Thank you.
Sterling. Yeah.
Thank you. So, what people don't know, he also wrote for Planet of the Apes, the original movie.
Oh
And
God, he produced all the Jacques Cousteau specials
Yep.
when you and I were little, and he wrote episodes for Night Gallery, which was before the Twilight Zone. I mean, he just did a lot of early television.
Yeah, Rod Sterling. Thank you. Oh God, man, I mispronounce everyone's name. I don't like to. It's just a thing I do. So Dog's show says my favorite Twilight Zone episode is the dude that makes the bet he won't speak for a year. Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh wow.
Do you remember that one?
No, I don't.
My favorite, Ron just brought it up. It's a cookbook. What I like, let me just go through it, and then Ron will go through it, and we'll jump to the chat and see what you guys are. But it's a To Serve Man is a great. The whole concept is absolutely marvelous. How they came up with it, and I don't know who wrote it. I don't know if Sterling wrote it.
He wrote too many. He produced a lot, but I'm not sure.
He produced a lot.
He just didn't write that much television.
But the whole point of it was this alien race comes to Earth, and they're huge. They're like Frankenstein-looking dudes with big heads and big brains and stuff. And they come down and they bring a book, and they start helping all the humans. Famine goes away, wars go away, everything bad goes away. The population continues to rise. There's no death, there's no famine. And so they keep doing this, and the governments around the world start disarming themselves because there's no war anymore. We don't need to spend money on protecting ourselves. These people do it for us. They made everyone love each other. And they'd have these wonderful field trips back to their planets. So I'm watching this as a kid going, I don't know if that's a good idea. I kind of would keep my army. I'm a kid watching this, right? I'm sitting there going, because it's a Twilight Zone, right, Ron?
Yeah.
No happy endings in the Twilight Zone,
no.
usually, right? I'm sitting there going, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. And again, my dad and my mom are watching me going, they can't hear you, honey. I know, but they shouldn't. I wouldn't give it. And I'm like lining up my little army men going, I'm keeping my army. They're not getting my army, that's for sure, right? I'm telling you the truth. I'm watching. I got my little army men.
I believe you.
My army sticks with me. So now there was the book, and they're trying to translate the book. This is how bad these aliens were. They were trash talking them without even knowing they were being trash talked. And so the guy translates the book, and he goes, because there's one skeptic who goes, we shouldn't, there's like a CIA guy or national security guy going, this is too good to be true. Because like the United States was the last one to like cut their defense and all that stuff and buy into the whole system. And so the guy goes, we just interpreted the title of the book, To Serve Man, right? So at the end of the episode, as the guy finally says he wants to take a trip to their planet because everyone loves it, they never come back. Hint, no one ever comes back from
the Love Boat.
The Love Boat planet, okay? As he's getting on the flying saucer, the guy comes out, don't get on there! It's a cookbook! They were eating them. They were harvesting humans like cattle. It was kind of cool.
I didn't see that one as a little kid. There's one episode we'll talk about. I saw it 8, 9 years old. That scared the bejesus out of me. But,
which one was that, Ron? Well, that was one of my favorites. So which one of yours?
I was a sophomore, junior, senior, somewhere in high school during exams. And if you had to be there in the building, but you couldn't, they would normally keep you in the cafeteria if you didn't have an exam.
Okay.
So I got a pass to go in the library, and I was friends with a girl that was working in the AV department. And this must have been a real early collection of obviously before DVDs, because you and I are ancient. And so it was like a VHS collection of episodes. It was like 3 or 4. And so we were sitting there waiting for whatever final, and we were all watching episodes on good TVs, not the ones that are old in the classroom, but they actually had a basic video editing machine. We were watching the Twilight Zone. And so I remember watching that on that particular one. It's like, wow, the Sahara is now a wheat field. Like, oh, yeah, you got me with the ending there. Don't get on, it's a cookbook.
That one, I'm telling you, I sat there and I was like, You know, as a kid going, I was right. I kept my army. I was right. They ain't eating me. That was one of the best ones. That's one of my favorite ones. Then the William Shatner. I tell you, there's the one where they remade in that movie.
Oh, they did it a couple times. They did it when they redid the show in the
Yeah,
'80s,
the,
and when
the Gremlin on the plane, on
yeah,
the wing of the plane.
3 or 4 times.
That was, and they redid that in the movies. That it was really tragic. The guy who was the mean coach in Bad News Bears, and again I can't remember his name. He was in the Twilight Zone movie. He dies on the set because they had a helicopter crash on a.
Morrow.
Yes,
that wasn't that scene, but yes, he died filming that movie.
yes. So but there was an accident. Like he died on the set. I that's the way I remember. But anyway, that movie was, and they redid that, and it was John Lithgow was the guy playing the William Shatner role.
Ooh, okay.
I'm almost positive. Someone as a dog also says Vic Moore. Thank you, and Beatles. But so William Shatner. Now you have to remember when I see this Twilight Zone episode, I've seen Star Trek before because I'm watching the reruns of Twilight Zone. I'm not seeing them, So
we're not that old,
right? Exactly. We're not that old. We don't just talk about men's health issues, which we will a little later.
Did the show me on the bear where the doctor touched you at?
Well, I think that's why Devin hasn't showed up. I brought the bear. Where did you that? You know what's funny? I don't know if people picked up on what you actually said 2 weeks ago. It was, where did you touch the bear? I was laughing so hard. Now, Devin, tell us where you touched the bear. It was funny, I thought. But that whole Twilight Zone. So to serve man, then the Gremlin one with William Shatner. I don't know the exact name. And then William Shatner. I just saw this one 2 years ago. Sci-Fi Channel does a Twilight Zone marathon twice a year, once at New Year's, and then once during the summer. William Shatner is with a woman, and they're at a diner, like say you're going out Route 66 or something, like one of those types of diners, and he won't leave because he keeps taking the fortunes out of the fortune-telling machine, like they're sitting in the booth. It was it's the first time I've ever seen it. It was awesome. And the actress was very familiar. I just don't remember her name. But
a lot of familiar names.
He wouldn't leave because he would say, like, what should I do now? And he put the money, you know what I mean? He'd take the thing out and read it. And his girlfriend or his wife is sitting there, what's wrong with you? So he was like, and then I think Clinton Parks, another one I like, is with Burgess Meredith when there's like a last man on earth thing. And all he wants to do is be left alone to read books. He had all the food because he was in a vault when the bomb went off or something, or everyone died. We're assuming it's a nuclear attack. And then he breaks his glasses and he can't read.
Right. Again, that was one of the ones that I watched on that particular day. And he was being a pain in the ass and was kind of a curmudgeon to begin with. And he just, he begged for all the time in the world. And that's one of those ones, and you're sitting there and you're 15, 16 years old. And that one stuck with me for a long time because he got it. And as you said, he sat on his glasses and he couldn't see. He had finally time to read every book ever.
I think it was called actually All the Time in the World or something like that.
Time had stopped. It wasn't just they'd been in the vault and time had stopped.
Yep.
And so, that was one of the ones.
That's a good one.
I remember, you remember the Rocky and Bullwinkle, the woman that did Rocky, June Foray. Yep. She was also Granny and did, every cartoon known to man for a while. And so she was the voice of, they used to run them on WGN. See, I used to watch other things besides the Cubs on WGN after school. Not much, though. And so they ran the Twilight Zone, I think, for, an early enough hour that I could watch them. And June Foray, who was the voice of Rocky. Oh no, Bullwinkle, don't do that again. Hooky Smoke.
Bullwinkle.
Yeah, she was the voice.
Where did you touch the rabbit? What?
I don't know. Natasha said, remove my penis. Oh, I did.
We next call to the witness stand.
And Boris took pictures. I don't know why. She played Talkie Tina, the doll.
Oh, go ahead, talk about that one because that scared. Dave Little said, Dave Gardner said something scared the witch scared the crap out of him. The Talking Tina doll scared the crap out of me as a kid.
I'm Talking Tina, and you better be nice to me. And so if you weren't, she killed you.
Yep.
Did she kill a mother-in-law? I mean, or child or whatever.
Oh, that freaked me out.
And then the last scene is the husband, he wakes up and the Talking Tina thing, I'm Talking Tina, and you better be nice to me. And the husband goes, ugh, and then the eyes change. And, I'm 7'8", so I'm, puddling on the floor.
Yeah. And they're like, Ron, we're going to take you to a puppet show. And you're like, no.
That's other one I remember from being, about the same age that you were playing with the Army men.
Yeah.
A guy goes on a date with this striking woman and blah, 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 blah. And he thinks he's bringing her, she's going to kill him because what she does was she had the spider and the spider killed and transferred to her to keep her looking eternally young.
Oh, like a Black Widow thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like a Black Widow, Black Dahlia type deal. And so she brings him home to what he thinks is mother, her mother. And the old woman says, Mother, she's my mother.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Like, ugh.
Yeah, they had some Twilight Zones, man. The other one I remember, and again, we're talking some Twilight Zone episodes. Let me go to the chat real quick, then we'll share some more of those. Dog Show says Lithgow played Shatner. So I think I got the name right. I think I did say John Lithgow in the Gremlin one. Moni G says about the Burgess Meredith could have been a horrible plague. She loves Boris and Natasha. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat again. Nothing up my sleeve. Presto. Yeah, that was a good. I like that cartoon.
It's something you'll really like.
Yep. So Dave Little says to see the Invisible Man. I missed something there. So, but we're talking Twilight Zone episodes. Feel free to share them in the chat if you have some of your favorite Twilight Zone episodes. There is another one. And what it was, these guys were in a tank, a U.S. Army tank. They somehow go through a time warp, right? And they show up at the Little Bighorn.
Ooh.
And the whole thing was, and I want to say there's either 3 or 4 of them. And the tank had broke down, so they couldn't get it over the ridge, right? And now they're sitting there going, well, what do we do? They realize they've gone through some sort of time warp, right? Do we alter history? Okay? And so they have this discussion. And they were in the 7th Cavalry, right? Because the 7th Cavalry name still stuck. The Ravens won. I'm 1 for 1 in my football pool now. Damn. My father's 2-0. Dad's giving football updates. That was a good win for them. You need anything, bud? They held the Chargers to 10 points.
Wow.
Their defense is outstanding, the Ravens.
Flacco, and they didn't have Flacco either.
That was our sports update from Dad. My dad's won the football pool 3 times this year.
Good for you.
Ron says good for you. It's an office pool. It's like $50. We got 10 people in it, so it's kind of awesome. Fun. Yeah, I won once. My mom, God rest her soul, 2 years ago when she was still playing in the pool, we had a few more people. She won 7 times in 1 year. People thought I was cheating because I run the pool. I'm like, really, I'm cheating. I go, my mom makes all her own picks. I just help her. We weigh them numerically instead of a point spread, meaning like if you thought the Patriots going to win their 16 games, you put 16 points.
Oh, like 50. A confidence pool.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, that's a sports update. So the dilemma in this Twilight Zone episode is, do these, I'm going to say I don't know how many men are in a tank crew, 4 sticks in my head. And the dilemma was, do we go and help Custard, right? Because they have automatic.
Right. I mean, obviously over 100 years.
And they tried to I'm trying to think, they tried to fix the tank to get it over the ridge and they couldn't. And then it shows them just walking over the ridge. And then Rod Serling, right? You know how he'd end the show? He goes, and there were 4 more um, graves at the Little Bighorn, and they show those 4 soldiers' names. That was kind of an interesting concept. It's like
Wow.
the
Yeah,
and again,
they always made you think. It wasn't
the whole
just,
point was the dilemma, because one guy goes, "Do we change history?" And the argument, and they all agreed to it after. We're part of the 7th Cavalry. That's our you know. We
right.
have to go and fight with them. And I kept going, man, if they just got the tank, if a little kid going, if they just got the tank over the ridge, we would have won.
Kaboom.
But that was interesting. That was, and it was funny because there wasn't, literally the whole thing is shot around that, that one little, is probably just a screen set, right? And it was just those 4 guys having that debate. It was pretty interesting. I always loved the Twilight
There's a
Zone.
lot of those Playhouse 90s that were never saved on Kinescope. And so they were they were essentially television plays. They were 1 or 2 act plays that they were, and so the Twilight Zone was much more of a play on film and much more of a thinking man show as opposed to.
That's a great point, because I'm thinking about the ones I remember. There's not a lot of the Gremlin one. He's sitting in a plane seat. It's literally, you're getting this angle.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're just getting this and him looking out the. Wow, that's I never thought of that. That's pretty cool. So let's go to the chat real quick. Bubba Husky says the Ravens run the ball so much they keep your offense on the side. Yeah, it's old school football with the Ravens. I just thought the Chargers, because if they had won, they possibly could have locked up the 1 seed. So I picked them.
Right, there's a week left.
Yep. Moni G, one of the fantasy movies, I think it was Merlin, who never came back to this babe, and she was feeding on to stay young. Oh yeah, that's a common theme in a lot of literature, where the blood of the young is used to keep the youth of the woman. I mean, that's one of the common things in
right.
Bathing in virgin's blood and stuff, in all those weirdo movies that scared the crap out of me as a kid. And you're looking at your neighbors going, is she one of them? Is she one of them? She could be one of them. Yeah, she could be. So
I watched The Blob around that age.
The Blob with Steve McQueen?
Yeah.
That was just on, I think it was like Turner Classics. It's a horrible movie. The acting's dreadful.
Yeah. But when
I
you're
love Steve.
Years old.
Yeah. Oh, it was good when you're 7, 8. But the blob part, I have to tell you, the blob part of the movie, the monster, that's really well done.
Yeah.
But the acting is god awful. And Steve McQueen's an excellent actor, as if you are a Steve McQueen fan or saw him in later movies. And you just watch it, and it was so over the top, gee golly 50s. You know what I mean? It's just, whoa. Where, again, one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time, the original Thing, or based on Halt Who Goes There, from 1951, or the Creature from Beyond, or something like that. It's a great movie. But that was what I used to. It's funny you bring that up, because in those 50 monster movies, especially the sci-fi ones, they would always, "Hi Manny, how you doing? Merry Christmas, my friend." They would always throw in this love interest for no reason. We're fighting a monster, but yet we have this love interest thing going on.
Wait. Can you give me 2 minutes, and then you see the curtains ruffling back and forth in the living room? Yes.
But anyway, the Twilight Zone was awesome. So if anyone has any episodes they'd like to share with us in the chat, the Twilight Zone was awesome. But those were the ones that stuck in my head. The doll, you brought that up. That scared the living crap out of me.
They were years ahead of their time.
Yeah.
They were years ahead of their time.
I think Dog has brought this one up, and Dog's still in the chat. There was one where a kid could read your mind, right? And if you thought any bad thoughts, little Billy took care of you. Meaning he was, and it was like, everything's not, like you want everyone happy, but he was a psychopath. And he'd be like, "Are you having a good day?" "Oh, yes, little Billy, I'm having a good day." That one was another good, because he could read your mind. And you're like, and he just would look at you and he'd be like, and he had like special powers. I was like, holy.
It wasn't the last Saturday that we were together, but one of the other ones, there was the 3 of us, and you were talking about the Beguiled. Well, you won't believe what showed up in my YouTube favorite. Watch this on YouTube. It was they ran it on like a CBS Tuesday night movie. It was like, yep, this looks like Misery, and Little Women got together and made a movie.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
It was kind of funny. That was a good one. Anyhow, let me just do something. So go ahead, continue on, Ron. I got to do something else.
Never buy your pets from a dollar store, okay?
No, never ever buy your pets from the dollar store. They're not gonna last too long. All right, we're good. We are good. Anyway, that was funny.
Yeah, no, Bubba, we got that. Yeah, because Al brought it up before, Bubba.
It's like one of those, so you talk about the
movies or whatever, and like, I saw the teaser and like, oh, yeah, no.
I'm telling you, The Beguile. Again, we discussed this 2 weeks ago. I'm not lying when I say the first time I saw that, I got my bowl of popcorn. It's a 4 o'clock movie, Clint Eastwood week, and they cut his effing leg off. I was like, oh my God. And then they poisoned him. I'm like, oh my God. They killed Clint Eastwood. That was horrifying to me. I won't watch that movie to this day. That's scary. That was Misery before Misery, and I love Misery. That was a great movie. I'm your #1 fan. I'm like, you're a crazy bitch. That's as Bubba Husky says, right. I just know the name Beguiled. Thanks. Yeah, that is not one of my favorite Clint Eastwood movies. No. Moni G says, my favorite Steve McQueen movie is one where he's an American flyboy in Germany. Oh, Great Escape. That is a marvelous movie. Steve McQueen, James Gardner, and a cast of Charles Bronson, and every actor, and a lot of English actors, Canadian, just all these good actors. And it's based on a true story. But for the movie, they combined everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But when they tell you the SS, I think it was the SS or the Gestapo, when they said they executed in the movie, executed 50 prisoners, in real life, they executed 50 prisoners. Meaning the guys who escaped, the ones who got caught by the regular army, the regular German army, they brought them back to the camp, right? If you got caught by the SS or the Gestapo, they shot you. And
you mean it wasn't like Hogan's Heroes?
No. And that, again, Hogan's Heroes, a lot of World War II veterans were pissed off about that show. I read about that, and I can see why. And again, I know it's a comedy, but to them, that pissed them off. It's a different era then. It's not like we take things lightly now. Those guys just fought the war. That's not too long ago in the 60s from the 40s. You understand?
No,
and those people were pissed off. You know, they're sitting there, no, that's not funny. We, like, people who had friends who were POWs, people, you know. So, again, I'm not going to get into a whole discussion, but yeah. But when they tell you that, because I read the book, oh God, the guy who wrote the book was a prisoner of war, and it actually was part of that. And it's a long book, and I took it when I was a kid. I took it out a couple of times out of the library at school, but I never read the whole thing. I would read parts of it, and he in the beginning goes, "This book is dedicated to the 50 whatever guys who got executed." You know, but it was they in the movie they had to combine a lot of things. But yeah, the Steve McQueen scene. I mean, you want to talk about being bummed out? Like, he's trying. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, Ron. He's trying to get to Switzerland. And they encompass this whole when he wasn't making movies, he was actually a racer, motorcycles.
Yeah, that killed him, right?
No, cancer killed him.
I saw it. Okay.
Yeah, he had some accidents, but no, it was cancer. I actually saw his last movie at the Bing Theater, and then he died. But the last movie he made fully, he was a bounty hunter. It was called Bounty, I believe, and that was a true story based on a bounty hunter in the early 70s. Or the late 60s, because when his last movie he made was in the late 70s, or when it came out.
78, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but he's trying to escape to Switzerland, and he's on the motorcycle, and he's got to jump one more barrier, and the Germans, they shoot him, and he gets stuck in the thing. But again, whether that really happened that way, if you were caught, the prisoners who were caught by the regular, my terminology, the regular army, they returned them to the POW camp. If you were caught by the I want to say it was either the SS or I want to say it was the Gestapo, because I remember the guy being Gestapo. They literally took the guys in the woods in 3 trucks, and they did the whole, please step out. The journey to your new camp is very long. Stretch your legs. And they're talking in the movie, they're talking amongst themselves, right? We gave it a good try. You know,
Right.
I wonder how this new camp, if they're going to break us all up and this and that. And then you hear the click back of the Germans had, again, I don't remember the name. They had a really effective light machine gun that could also act as a heavy machine gun. It's very distinctive looking. And in fact, the stormtroopers, one of their weapons in Star Wars, looks very much like that weapon. And you hear they pull back on the lever, and you hear, and that's, you just hear the echo. And then the final scene of The Great Escape was James Gardner gets caught and he gets brought back, and the guy with him gets shot. Again, it's in the movie. Whether I don't know if that actually happened in real life.
Right.
He was blind, and James Gardner is trying to help him escape, and they almost made it. Blah blah blah. But he comes back, and he goes, "How many got caught?" And they said, "Oh, they returned. I think they broke out like 70 or something, right? I don't remember the exact numbers." And they go 8. He goes, "How many?" He goes, 8. He goes, "They all got away?" He goes, "No."
Go.
He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "There's a list." Because they came out and they put a list. And then again, they make the POW commandant sympathetic, meaning he's just doing his job.
Right.
And he had told them, he had said, "Listen, the war's coming to." He actually, again, and this is the movie. I'm not saying, but, and I didn't get into this in the book, so I can't say. But in the movie, the commandant, it's a Luftwaffe. It's the Air Force, and there's a discussion between two, where if you were in the Air Force, you were kept prisoner by the Air Force, meaning.
Right. I mean, there really was a Geneva Convention.
Right. So the Air Force, if you were an Air Force man, the Germans would, their Luftwaffe, that was their Air Force, they kept you prisoner. That's the way it went, I guess. And he had this, when he had the commanding officers coming, go, "Look, the war is coming to an end. Let's just all write it out together. All right? War's coming to an end. Don't make trouble for me. I'm not going to make trouble for you." And,
right.
they had the discussion. And so the guy has a thing, goes, "Well, maybe we should write it out." And the other guy goes, "Our job is, we swore our oath to escape."
To escape, right.
And he goes, "That's what we're going to do." He goes, "Okay, I just want to make sure that's the same way we're doing it." He goes, "Yeah." And at the end, when the commander comes out to give, and then he posts it. But before he posts it, he goes through, he goes, there'll be 8 return, or 7, because Gardner was the 8th or something like that, right? And he goes, the list of the ones who were shot will be up on the wall. And the commanding officer, who couldn't, like he had a cane because his leg was messed up, he didn't go on these excursions.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because he called him in first, he said, "How many were wounded?" He goes, "The list of the dead will be, because he goes,
Right.
"They shot them all?" And he just looks at them. He goes, "The list will be on the wall." And then the Gestapo comes and gets him and takes him away, right? Because he didn't do his job. They escaped. And he turns to Steve McQueen and he looks at him. He goes, "You'll probably see Berlin before me." And, because they're going to go execute him too. I mean, that's the meaning you get. It was a great movie. Again, based on reality, but Hollywood.
They didn't play it. Yeah, I mean, they glamorized it to a degree.
Yeah.
Herb Pilgrim pointed out in the chat that he.
Oh,
Herb's there. Hi, Herb. Oh, James Dean, which wasn't what I was thinking of. I knew that Steve McQueen did Grand Prix, and they actually took a movie camera to the course in Monaco and filmed it.
Oh, and Herb's right. James Dean died. Did die in a motorcycle accident or a car accident.
No, he had a Porsche Spider, which was essentially a fiberglass car.
Wow.
You should go, because there's a couple of good videos on the tube about that. He got caught. He'd been pulled over once for speeding. He was driving to a racetrack, I think up in Monterey.
Yep.
Or somewhere above Los Angeles. And came to an intersection where there was a massive blind spot. So I believe they got T-boned. They were going too fast, or they T-boned somebody. It was a fiberglass car.
You're gone.
He's dead instantly.
Yeah.
So
Bubba Husky I saw this movie, Ravenous. That was super creepy, Bubba. Oh, cannibals after the Civil War.
Oh,
Oh,
well, I made the mistake once. My wife's an anime fan,
yeah.
and back back before, yeah.
Watch out for some of those movies, Ron.
Oh,
Some of
yeah.
those octopuses, their arms just go all over the place, Ron.
I wish it was a movie like that I was talking about. Okay, so because I've never seen Maverick and never heard of it, so I'll bore you with one of my stories instead. We're
Never boring with Uncle Ron.
we're newlyweds, and so I'm trying to be supportive of things, and
Good guy.
I'm looking through a magazine or website or whatever, and this particular movie had won numerous awards in Japan, and it was like $20. And we had a DVD player, but DVD players were so new that they were in computers. My first DVD player was in a desktop I had. We didn't have a DVD player; those cost money, but she could play them on the computer. So I bought it for her for birthday, Christmas, something. I think it was a birthday because her birthday's in the summer. So I'm out there watching a college football game, and she's watching a movie on the computer, and Ohio State's winning. And so I said, "Fuck that shit!" And well, honey, what are you doing? Because I have an irrational hate for Notre Dame and Ohio State. Yeah, I said it.
Okay, Ron. Me too.
Okay, shh, don't say that.
Even though some of our friends like them.
That's why I looked at the cameras directly and said it.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know about Notre Dame. I know about Ohio State.
Can they hear us?
So go in there, and she's watching this movie, and the look on her face is like, just slit my wrist and get it over with. It's like, what's the matter, honey? You liking the movie I bought you? So I get watching the movie with her, and the story's all about two little Japanese kids, maybe 8-10 years old, in the last days of World War II, when the shit's hit the fan and they know they're going to lose and there's nothing to eat.
Oh my God!
And it's the most depressing.
Oh boy!
That day it wouldn't have been half as depressing as
Yeah.
that. And so, absolutely the most depressing piece of crap movie. And she said, "Don't you ever buy me another piece of anime ever again." And I haven't, because I have no.
So you bought the movie because you read a review, and it said it was good, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna do something nice for my wife."
I don't get into that stuff. Yeah. Cowboy Bebop and Midnight Maruta and
I don't watch any of that.
Penises. I don't understand. Well, maybe
the one I saw, there's an octopus, and he definitely was a human resources violation. Definitely was a human resources violation. That was not like that friendly octopus. What was that show?
You're not thinking Squidward, are you? No, he wasn't friendly.
Well, yeah, but Squidward wasn't molesting people either.
It's okay.
That we know of. No, it was like that puppet.
He touch you on the star, Patrick.
Oh my God, Patrick, you're in a safe place. It's okay. It's okay, Patrick. Did what the hell's the little guy's name? The evil guy. Plankton.
Okay.
Plankton. Where did Plankton touch you? Did he touch you? Tell us. So anyway, Plankton.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, we didn't even make dinner that night. We both sitting there going, "Oh my God."
Yeah, that was Ravenous. Okay, Bubba Husky, that is a disturbing movie. So this guy goes to this post. I'm trying to remember. I've only watched it once. It was good. I'll never watch it again. It's not wow, right? There's a scene with a bear trap, and all I can say was, "Oh." But here's my point. I show up somewhere, and it seems like a bunch of crazy people. I'm gonna be like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be here, and it just looks like there's about 7 crazy people left. Yeah, I gotta get some stuff out of the wagon. I'm out of there.
You mean it's not like a Bugs Bunny cartoon when you can turn into a woman or become a manicurist or whatever?
No. Bugs Bunny was my hero as a child.
Oh, yeah.
It's still my hero because Bugs Bunny, wow, we're going from Ravenous to Bugs Bunny, and I talked about octopuses from anime, and you know the movies, people I'm talking about. I don't watch them. I watch live action types of those movies, but
there are parts of my imagination I don't want tested when it's time for those sort of things.
Yeah, I want my cartoons to be sort of pure. South Park is as far as I go, and I love South Park.
Oh, they go too far for me.
Oh, South Park, they're funny. I don't watch it as much as I used to, but my God,
I love Butters.
Trey Parker and the other guy, they're hilarious. Barbara Streisand hates them because they kill her in that show all the time.
Come on, Tom Cruise, come out of the closet.
Oh, they make what's beautiful about that show is they make fun of everybody.
Oh yeah, they're equal opportunity.
See, I dig that.
Yeah.
Even if they make fun of someone I like, I don't care because they make fun of everybody.
Right.
I like that. Anyway, that's not. But the Ravenous was just like, Bubba, do you remember this scene? As I'm pointing to the chat. Oh, they can't see me though. They can't see me. I forgot already. Do
you remember the scene?
Do you remember this scene with the bear trap? Oh my God. But yeah, so if we show up like, okay, my friend's into like foreign movies, like horror movies, and he let me borrow this one, and it's actually based on a true story. They jazz it up, okay? But in France, in the Napoleon's time, I don't have the years right, so I'm not going to say that. They actually thought there was a real werewolf because people were getting mutilated, and they actually dispatched the army to go find out, and they never could find out anything. And the History Channel actually did something on this. And one of the theories was a guy had a trained hyena, and he was killing people. That was one of these theories. The werewolf of something. I can't. And it's. I mean, you look up French werewolf Napoleon. It's you'll find the title. But anyway,
yeah.
It was on the History Channel. There's a true story. No real werewolf. There was just these brutal murders going on around, right? That they couldn't explain during the Napoleon's time.
Right.
And they dispatched the army to the town, like to these small communities, because people were in fear. They go, there's a werewolf killing people. Because they'd find bodies just ripped apart. And then it's like animal. It was an animal doing this.
Right.
And they sent professional hunters along with soldiers to try it, and they never could find it. And then they came, I'm trying to remember right, but it was someone who possibly had a trained circus animal. I'm trying to remember right. So this movie's based on this story, okay?
This is Ravenous or?
No, something else. I'm sorry, I jumped. I can't remember the name. So I borrowed the movie. It's all in French, and you got to read the subtitles. It was pretty good, though. But I go back to work the next day, and I'm like, listen to my friend. And my other friend, I go, if we ever show up and we're looking to kill like a werewolf, and we go to the village and no one seems helpful, dude, we're out of there. They don't want our help. You know why? They're the psychopaths who've been killing the other people.
Funny, the French movies I watch don't require translation, but
yeah, like, hey, do you think Pepe Le Pew was the first stalker on TV?
Oh, good question.
Throw that out to the chat. Bubba Husky knows the movie Brotherhood of the Wolf, based on the Beast of Jovidan. That's a true story, not the movie. The movie is loosely based on that, but that's it. Brotherhood of the Wolf, and I saw that. It was interesting. But yeah, the question is: do you think Pepe Le Pew was the first stalker on TV?
Klinger was the first transvestite.
Yes.
Speaking of,
actually, no, Bugs Bunny.
That's true, but
Bugs Bunny dressed in women's clothing,
right?
And it didn't bother me.
Milton Berle could walk on his ankles too when he wore the heels back in that part of the show.
Actually, yeah, Milton Berle did that. Geraldine.
The devil made me do it.
Was it Nipsey Russell, right?
Oh, Flip Wilson.
Flip Wilson. That's it. Flip Wilson. I love that show. That was awesome. Anyway.
Every once in a while on TV Land.
So, yes, go ahead.
19th century true crime stuff.
Yeah.
Here's one of those icky things about Jack the Ripper, which they've still never saw.
I've always been fascinated by that, Jack the Ripper.
I've actually seen some of the pictures from that. And
it's horrible. Oh, they have real pictures. It's disturbing.
Yes, yeah. If you don't, don't.
It's not for the meek of what they say, meek of heart.
Yeah, I mean they're graphic. They're beyond graphic.
Very graphic.
That and the Helter Skelter pictures. Don't want to look at those either.
No, those are. That pisses me off. That he's dead now. Good rotten hell, you bastard.
Yeah.
Charles Manson, right? His initial sentence was a death sentence. Okay, and it was. Look it up. California had the death penalty then.
Yep. So
but then they changed it, and he got life And it wasn't even life. He came up for parole. All those people died. Now they'll say, oh, he wasn't there. Those people acted on his behalf. Okay.
Oh, sure.
I don't get that. And then they got the death penalty back. I was like, well, put him back on death row.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
but
the point being, I wasn't trying to get off on the Manson.
No, that's fine.
They believed one of the things that they did in a couple of those cases, and I saw this on an actually decent made-for-TV movie. I mean,
and Armin and Sante, where they thought it was the royal doctor. Is that the one?
I think that was it. But one of the things that they did was that they believed at the time that your corneas could record the last thing that you saw. But there would be some image there. And so in some of those cases of those women, they took out the eyeballs.
To see if they could see an image?
Right.
That's wild.
Isn't it?
It's an interesting concept, right?
Yeah. And if you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, obviously it doesn't make sense now. But
but it's an interesting concept.
Sure.
Jack the Ripper, that movie, there was a made-for-TV movie based on a book.
Late 80s it was.
Yes, very good.
It was very good.
And it was based dead on to the book from what I remember reading about. And I never read the book.
He wasn't in it, which was kind of strange for a made-for-TV movie back then.
Yeah, Valerie Burton, I loved her.
Love isn't the word I'd use. Sleep well.
Yeah, I dated her a lot.
Yeah, so did I.
Okay.
Anyway,
back to Jack the Ripper.
It's just not hot in Cleveland anymore.
I still like Valerie Bertinelli. I don't care.
She's a sweetheart.
I like Raquel Welch. She's like 90. I don't care.
Okay, so back to...
We're not going to talk about all... Okay, I get it. I got it.
We can, but,
No, let's go back to the happy subject of Jack the Ripper. Anyway. Those pictures, you can find them on the internet, and they're very disturbing. They've actually shown them in specials, and they tell you it's not for the weak of heart. But in that made-for-TV movie, the two detectives, again, it's someone who wrote the book and just pieced things together. And it's very interesting with his theory how he can. They said it was a royal doctor who was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, okay? And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but they catch him, all right? And then there's like a carriage accident or whatever, horse and buggy thing. They're chasing him. And Michael Caine.
I was about to say Michael Caine was in there, which was amazing for a made-for-TV movie. It
was Michael Caine, and I think the other detective from Scotland Yard was Armin Asante.
Okay. Ooh.
That's what sticks in my... Oh, no, it was a good movie.
That's an 80s name if they're ever,
He was a good actor, just never made it big in the movies, right? And so I know it was Michael Caine. Armin Asante might be on. Yeah. So when they go out on these... They're issued firearms because they're dealing with a dangerous psychopath, and they're issued firearms. They're trained in firearms. Normally, in the day and even now, in the day then, they didn't carry firearms. You had to be issued firearms if you were a detective or a police officer. So they're issued because they're dealing with a dangerous psychopath. And Michael Caine walks up to the guy, right? And he's hurt, right? And he walks up and he pulls the gun out, and he's going to shoot him, right? And Armin Asante stops and says, hey, that's not what we're about. He's going to get his justice. He's going to get his justice the right way. And he goes, I'm going to kill him now. I'm going to issue justice. And Armin Asante stops him. So now they go back to the police headquarters, Scotland Yard, or the local police headquarters, right? Because they were brought in they're detectives. And you don't see Michael Caine, right? And he walks out and he just looks at Armin Asante, his partner, just goes, and he sits down. And they want to see you now. It was what they say. They want to see you now. Well, they want to see you now. So Armin Asante goes in, and now you get it from he's the younger detective, right? And they sit there and they go, good work. You did a good job catching the guy. But he's in a coma. He's going to die, right? Case is solved. And Armin, the younger detective goes, what do you mean? Because the case is solved. He's not going to come to trial? Case is solved. He goes, but we caught him. Yep, case is solved. He's going to die. He's in a coma. He's going to die. and there was like radicals in the streets then, and they didn't want to give the whole point of the police commissioner was we don't want to give these radicals saying look what the rich people do. They're right. And so he comes out and he's pissed. And Michael Caine's looking at him and goes, well, what did you expect? Because I expected justice. Great. This was one of the best lines ever written. Because if you wanted justice, you should have let me shoot him when I was going to do it. And that's how the movie ends. And then they give you what's really interesting, whether, you know, right after this happens, this accident, again, you never know if that's the real guy, but it's a very interesting theory. And it really did happen. Okay. They make the older detective retire, full pension. They make him go away, basically, right? And they take the younger detective and they send him out to the boonies. And he retires at an early age after a couple more, like 5 more years. They basically made them go away and not talk about it. But that's a great... Jack the Ripper's always intrigued me just because they never caught him, you know? Interesting stuff, anyway. Let's go to the chat real quick. Bubba Husky says, From Hell was a remake of the movie, but Jack the Ripper killings being a political cover-up starring Johnny Depp. Okay, that's the newer version. Yes, I've heard of that one. The one yes, thank you, Bubba. The one we're talking about was with Michael Caine, and as you know, you say it was, yes, it's a political. The writer of that book took it as we caught the guy, right? He's dead. We don't have. We caught the guy. Good work.
Theory, right? And you're about to say that there weren't any murders after that person died.
Now there were copycat murders. I want to say in Australia, and there's always a theory that the Ripper had escaped there. You know what I mean? But they never caught that guy either.
He got more and more graphic as he went on.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got more and more trash talking. He would leave those notes for the police going, you can't catch me. You know?
We just had a guy up here talk shit to cops here in Burlington. I forget what he was wanted for.
Yeah.
But he taunted them on Facebook and Twitter. He didn't kill anybody, but, you know, like, be drunk son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And they got him within 6 hours.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something, people. If you're on Facebook, you use a cell phone, you're on Twitter, unless you're really brilliant, they can track you, especially with your cell phone. It's, you know, satellites.
There's towers everywhere, and your phones have a GPS. And like I said,
exactly.
There are things that we've talked about on shows that will show up on my YouTube. Oh, you should look at this, like the next day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, privacy? What the hell's that?
Yeah. So, historyancestor.com. Don't do it, people. Don't send your DNA to anybody. Not a good idea.
No.
Bad idea. That always makes me laugh. I just found out I'm 1/5 Martian. Incredible. I'm like, you are a jackass. Anyway. But, yeah, Jack the Ripper. Moni G says Jack the Ripper. I always thought it must have been royalty. That was just a theory, but it was a really... Because the History Channel had a week of Jack the Ripper years ago, and they came up with the theories. And when they had this theory, I'm like, oh, I remember the movie. And there was a book. And I've always...
There had to have been some aspect of royalty involved just because he covered it up. And because so much of the early pipes in cities were lead, it kind of, you know... Everyone's drinking out of stuff.
They went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs,
right?
And that was always very interesting to me. I'll watch every once in a while. I get in that mode. Now I'll go on YouTube and you can find certain documentaries, and they're interesting because. But I still like the one with the that it was a royal doctor. Again, whether that's true or not, it's just something I believe. And then the whole concept of, listen, the guy can't do it no more. He's good. He's in a coma. He's going to die. But we have these radicals in the street that want to overthrow the government. Not that they were ever going, but, you know, they're anarchists.
Don't give them the ammunition.
Give them the ammo. And the detectives were so pissed. And then again, I go back to just a well-written scene where Michael Caine says to Armin Asante, if you wanted justice, you should have let me shoot him. You should have let me shoot him. Great movie. That's funny that you saw. I mean, that was. I don't want to go off on a Jack the Ripper. It's just. how they didn't, because he was so arrogant. He got more and more blatant, more, what's the word, brazen. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Where he's like, you can't catch me. You'll never catch me. I can do whatever I want. The next one's going to be here. Like, you leave those little Dakota, I'm going to do it again. And it's going to be close by, and you're not going to catch me.
And it wasn't like there were any shortages of ladies of the evening that weren't going to be in London.
No, because he went. It was easy. Unfortunately, it was very easy hunting. I don't mean to. I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean,
it was easy hunting.
The Pet Shop Boys, East End Boys and West End Girls. I mean,
But it's very. It's intriguing to me that even in that day and age, something so blatant, they unfortunately was very good at what he did, and there were no witnesses. There was one I think witness at one who saw something. I'm trying to remember back. I don't, but there were no, and he would leave also. He would leave things on the wall to try to make it an ethnic thing.
Right.
Remember, I'm not going to get into it because I don't want, you know what I'm talking about,
I know
right?
what you're talking about.
Yeah. If I thought the people in the chat would understand, but I don't want any of the.
Yeah, no, I know where you're going there.
Yeah. But yeah, that was very interesting. Anyway, that's everyone's saying Merry Christmas to Terry T. She goes, gotta run. Thank you, Terry T, for stopping by.
Merry Christmas.
So
speaking of Michael Caine, are you familiar with Graham Norton?
You were telling me about that. I got to look that up. I looked up. I saw what was the one I watched a little bit of the one you told me about? Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
No, it was the other one.
With Tom Cruise and.
I watched just a little bit of it.
Oh yeah. So Michael Caine is. I mean, Graham Norton. It's amazing the people he gets on, and it's just the best talk show since Carson, because they get drunk on the show and they just tell outrageous stories. Anyway, so Michael Caine's on one night with Morgan Freeman. And they play on the accent, and there was a birthday card and all that. And so they get Michael Caine to tell the story about being in the Philippines. He was invited by the Marcos family back in the 70s to do something in the Philippines.
Yeah, Marcos was dictator of the Philippines.
2,500,000 pairs of shoes.
That was Imelda.
That was Imelda, yep. Yeah.
She liked her shoes.
Yeah, that's a lot of shoes, man.
That's a lot of shoes. I don't know.
Anyway, and so he's at a party and he's being introduced around, and it's not the Marcoses that are hosting it, but some high mucky muck in the Philippine government's wife. And she's just giving him the stink eye like you wouldn't believe. And so finally, there's a lull in the party, and she just kind of waggles her finger, and he comes over. He says, what's the matter? And she said, are you some sort of drug dealer? It's like, no. Why? She said, well, why do people keep referring to you as my cocaine?
Oh, that's too funny. That is too funny. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So Moni G, see, we're going to switch to happy stuff now.
Oh, yeah, please do.
We just spent like Gal going off on Jack the Ripper. Again, very interesting to me. Moni G brings up Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yes.
This is why I love our chat, because people bring up things and then we riff off of it. That's the way this show goes, unfortunately.
Steve Martin, Michael Caine, and who else was there?
The woman was very good. Familiar. I don't remember her though. I mean the name.
I remember.
But the whole Rupert, remember?
Yes.
Rupert.
Yes.
Steve Martin was Rupert.
Yeah.
And remember when Michael when he goes, he had the eye patch.
Yes.
And he goes, what? And so they go, why does he have the eye patch? With the fork. And then he goes, may I please go to the bathroom? Rupert, ask politely now. May I please go to the bathroom? Yes, you may. That was one of the fun. And then when he was pretending he couldn't walk, and Michael Caine pretending he was the doctor, and he goes, do you feel this? And he's just whacking away with that stick on his leg. He's like, and tears. That great movie, very funny. Dog shows his Dirty Rotten Scoundrel. Oh my God, that was there's, you know, those are the two scenes that stick out. There's a lot of funny scenes. But when he's in the wheelchair and he's just whacking the crap out of him with that thing, and then the whole Rupert, you know, and then Rupert, be polite. May I please go to the bathroom? And that whole, oh, that was awesome. You know, it was another good Michael Caine movie, but it had an ensemble cast. I think it was called Parenthood. And Keanu Reeves, it's the only one of the few movies I actually like Keanu Reeves in. He's in it. It has a
people rave about his work in The Matrix. I've never seen it, but
no, people do like that movie. I've never watched it either, and I know there's a ton of people.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure every time I see Keanu Reeves.
Actually, those were enjoyable. They made me laugh, you know. But in Parenthood was a good one with a lot of people in that movie, an ensemble cast. Bubba Husky says, Rupert, do I need to get out the genital cuff? That's right. That was a funny movie. It was good stuff. Steve, Michael Caine, a movie, if you haven't seen it, probably his first big movie that really made him, Alfie. And they remade it with the guy who plays Watson, Jude Law. Law remade. Yeah, it's actually not bad, the remake. I saw it years ago. That's a long time ago. But Alfie, the original, was really good, where he's kind of like a con guy hustler.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. It turns out you don't have to hate him at the end. So, I mean, it's a good movie, Alfie. And then Jude Law did the remake. But I've always been a big Michael Caine fan. One of my parents. And Michael Caine isn't in Steve Martin. I'm sorry, did I say Michael Caine? Steve Martin is in Parenthood. Excuse me.
That's what yeah.
I said I probably did say Michael.
He did a lot of movies in that. He did Father of the Bride.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a nice, cute one. I like that one. The Jerk was funny. Again, would they make that movie now?
No.
The classic. I was born
poor black
child
in Mississippi.
Which, if you watch the movie, you understand the family that raised him was African American, and they were poor, and he loved them. And again, you got to read between the lines, because he sent them, when he made money, he sent them money. Remember when he goes, I had 2 jobs. I have 2 jobs now.
Yeah.
And then he tells, and the brother's laughing because he goes, I don't know what it's about, but it's a. That's a great movie, The Jerk. The new phone book's here. The Dog Sidious brings up, remember, I'm somebody. The new phone book's here. And then the psychopath, the sniper killer, who's this dirtbag? And he picks the name. These cans are defective. The guy keeps missing him with a sniper rifle. And Mason, what the hell's his first? Jackie Mason was the guy, his boss at the garage. He goes, those cans aren't defective. That human being on the hill's defective. He goes.
Yeah, Jackie's great.
Yeah, he's very funny. He was a rabbi. Imagine that. Jackie Mason was a rabbi. Very funny. Again, comedy that would never be done now. It's sad. That was a great. The phone, I'm somebody. Her Pilgrim has it. I'm somebody. And the guy picks out his name. Remember, I'm going to name my dog Hero. He just saved everyone. He goes, there's no fire. The guy goes, your dog should be named Shithead. The dog show says, there's a defective person. Yeah, he's trying to do the pronunciation as Jackie. That is so funny. And the cans are popping. And the guy's got the die. Remember, you keep saying the guy. What the hell was his name? I can't remember. Die. He kept shooting.
Long time since I've seen it, but it was funny.
Funny movie, The Jerk. And he was good in. Do you remember Little Shop of Horrors?
Was he in that?
He was the dentist.
Oh wow!
The sadistic dentist who was brutal to people. Funny scene. Bill Murray has a cameo in the dentist office. He's in the dentist chair, and again, Steve Martin becomes a dentist because he's a sadist. He likes to inflict pain on people, right? And Bill Murray loves it. He's there, He goes, "This is so good," because he got his shirt and he's got all these things. He just gently pulling. He goes, "How does that make you feel?" "I love it. I love it." And he just keeps trying to make scream, right? He goes, "I love it." And he goes, "Get out of here, you weird!" Because his whole point was like he has that whole singing scene where he comes in, right? And he punches the heavyset nurse. I mean, he was a jerk. And he was like trying to steal Rick Moranis' girlfriend in it. The girl who worked at the flower shop he was dating, and he was real mean to her, but that was kind of funny. Little Shop of Horrors. As Moni G says, great movie.
Yes, All of Me was very good too. When he and Lily Tomlin were in the same body.
Oh, that was another good one.
Yep.
Lily Tomlin, great comedic actress.
The Man with Two Brains.
That was funny. Then there was
Is that the one that the phrase cleaning woman would set him off? There was one.
It was. I'm
Man
trying
with
to
Two
think.
Brains or Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
I think it could have been Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Okay, but there was one of them where the phrase cleaning woman would send him into a tremendous rage.
Then you talked to Lily Tomlin, 9 to 5 with
Yes.
Fonda and Parton. And Dabney Coleman played. This was Horrible Bosses before Horrible Bosses.
Right.
And he was just such a jerk in that movie. And remember they kidnapped him? Oh, yeah. And they had him in the garage?
Yeah.
Or not the garage, but they used the garage door opener to control him. And remember, he mixed up the remote control with the, and you, oh, shit, you go flying all over the place.
Watching Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. Dog Show says The Man with Two Brains. That was the one when you were talking about.
Cleaning woman. There was, if it was just some random phrase.
But yeah, that was there's a lot of funny. I mean, the comedy was different then. What he did to Dolly Parton was you just laughed because he'd call her in, Dolly Parton, a very voluptuous woman. If you don't know who Dolly Parton is,
I love Dolly Parton, and she could have 32 A's, and I'd still love Dolly Parton.
Me too, but I love her a little more.
Yeah, you know.
Okay. So Dolly Parton, remember, you've seen 9 to 5, right, Ron?
Sure.
Remember, he would push, he'd have it all set up, and he'd be leaning, so the pens and pencils would fall over, and she'd pick them up, and he'd stare at her. He was such a jerk, and she played the game, because she had to keep the job, and he's like, I need you, Dorothy. You're a married man. I'm a married woman. That's what remember the line? That's what makes it so right. He was such a jerk.
She was on Carson one night, a couple years before that, and Johnny made scads of money before television people made scads. I mean, no one.
I think he was highest paid, wasn't he?
Certainly. Well, he made more money
up there. I think he was.
I think
had to be.
The late 70s. I think half of NBC's profits came from Carson.
Huge show. People don't understand. Like they watch late shows now. That stuff's crap.
Right.
That stuff's crap.
I think
literally
Graham Norton because it's funny. Anyway, so she's on one night, and everyone knows that Johnny pays a lot in alimony, and Johnny makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so he turns to her with that straight face, and only Carson could do. Leno could never do this. Carson would. I don't talk about things like this very much, but I'd give a year's salary to peek under that shirt.
I remember, that's a very famous clip.
And she's dying, she
has a great sense of humor.
Oh yeah,
she and Bubba Husky says she grew up 30 minutes from Knoxville. Sure. Herb Pilgrim says King Tut. Oh yeah, that was his. Just to go back to Steve Martin, that was his song. What the hell?
Number one song on the
novelty hit. That was his novelty song.
Yeah,
King Tut. He did that. Yeah, that was good. I like that. There was fun stuff then. And there's fun stuff now. I don't mean that, but the Tonight Show.
You know that one.
My speaker went off. You said something close to the word Amazon, and so it woke up.
Cersei's like, or what the hell's it called?
About that.
Hey, quiet down there. That's funny. Dolly Parton, funny. But the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. I Friday nights I loved it because I could sit up and watch the Tonight Show. Now in the summers I watched it as much as I could. Sometimes you're tired. You're a kid, you get tired and you just doze off. But my parents in the summer, I wasn't like one of these kids that had to go to bed at 8 o'clock. They never made me do that in the summer, right? Go to bed after Carson, and I'd go upstairs and I'd play a game. You know what I mean? Listen to the radio. I was in heaven if I could watch Johnny Carson, right? And then I'd go upstairs and I have that radio with the wiring, right?
Yep.
Running outside the window, trying to get some sort of Midwest station bouncing off somewhere so I could get like a late night baseball game. Every once in a while, you pick up a Cubs game and they're playing or the White Sox, they're playing on the West Coast. And again, it's not really from Chicago. You're just picking up some sort of signal from somewhere else that had it. And I'd listen. Those were good times.
I was not allowed in my main dorm suite if Robin Williams was ever on The Tonight Show, because I would get laughing so hard when Robin and Johnny would get going together that no one else could hear.
I was just going to say that. Him and Jonathan Winters were on The Tonight Show.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to understand, Robin Williams idolized Jonathan Winters. If you don't know who Jonathan Winters is, Google him, YouTube him, whatever. Robin Williams brings Jonathan Winters on Mork and Mindy because he loves him so much. And the funny story about Mork and Mindy, Robin Williams is great at improv, so is Jonathan Winters. And Mork's love interest, who I can't remember the name.
Pam Dauber.
Thank you, Pam Dauber. So she has the script, and she liked the guys, but she goes, she hated doing Mork and Mindy because the guy who played her father, again, that was another one of those behind the TV scene things. It was awesome, right? She goes, she loved them, but she hated them because they never followed the script, and the directors, right, would go with whatever they were doing because they were funny, and she didn't know when her lines were to come in. She gets so pissed at them. But yeah, Robin Williams, God rest his soul, was so funny. I saw him at the Springfield Civic Center when I was 12 years old, right? And he did that same routine. Well, he changed it a little bit, but
there wasn't a box of Playboys when you were 12 years old that felt as good as going to see a Robin Williams show.
No, I'm telling you right now. And we had all kinds of dirty magazines when I was 12 years old. We found them everywhere.
Yeah.
And we'd stash them.
Yeah.
But Robin Williams, you're right. If someone says you have to trade your dirty magazines for a Robin Williams ticket,
I'm trading those in a minute.
He was so funny. When he did the Elmer Fudd thing, driving in my car.
Yeah.
Listen to the radio. And when we kissed, it was fire, Romeo and Juliet. It was just fun. I don't do it justice. But he did the whole, in concert that I went to, he, like on the HBO thing, he did some of it. He did a little more at the he did almost the whole song. And it was a real song. I can't remember who did it. It was two
Pointer
women.
Sisters.
Well, yes, the Pointer Sisters. Thank you. Great song too.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams, so funny. As Her Pilgrim says, was a treasure. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's sad. That's one of those ones where someone passes away and you're sad about it.
Billy Crystal told the story to Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy actually listened to it.
He shut up long enough?
He shut up long enough, which is too bad because some of the stuff on Fallon's hilarious, but Jimmy's just a piss poor interviewer. And so they're talking about Robin, and they're in a tour bus or something like that, and they're about to go and do some government thing, and they're about to get, dog sniffed or whatever, and quick, throw out your bombs. And so Robin quickly says, if anyone's got a copy of my movie Popeye on board, throw it out.
Let's go to the chat real quick.
Yeah.
JD says, Miss Robin, he was a badass. Loved Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh,
awesome movie, Good Morning Vietnam.
You talked about it earlier this week, or we kind of did he was in Awakenings with Penny Marshall directed.
Again, I'll tell you, Robin Williams is a tremendous actor. If you've never seen Forrest Gump, yes, people. If you've never seen Forrest Gump, in which he should have won an Academy Award, he should have won an Academy. What was that? Sorry,
he wasn't in Forrest Gump.
World According to Garp. Oh my God!
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, brain not functioning.
He did that one early in his career too.
Yes.
That was his first.
And that was a different role for him. I'm sorry, World According to Garp. Thank you, Ron. He should have won the Academy Award for World According to Garp. Absolutely marvelous movie. Okay, then he would do that, and he would get no one wanted to see those movies, and he would. It was still funny, but it was dark subject matter, right? Not like. And if you watched what was it, Insomnia, and 60-minute photo,
Oh, that just creeped the freak out of me.
he is absolutely. I've only watched those movies, and I couldn't even tell you because I only watched them once. Because I'm like, I don't kind of like to see, even though he plays a psychopath, absolutely marvelous. I don't want to see Robin Williams play the. You know what I mean?
No, I want to see him do Mrs. Doubtfire again. You know, I mean, he pulled that one.
We're talking before about favorite sports movies,
Yes.
and you would laugh when someone brought up the one with Scott Bakula, right?
The football movie. I can't remember.
Which slips. Bubba will. I think Bubba.
Yeah.
Will bring. There's one with Robin Williams and Kurt Russell. Okay.
Really?
It's marvelous movie, and now I forgot the name. So someone look it up. Robin Williams and Kurt Russell football movie. And the whole point is, Kurt Russell is this real good high school quarterback, and he's gonna get out of this small little dinky town, right?
I'm thinking of the Tom Cruise movie, Making All the Right Moves.
No, that was a serious movie,
right?
And well, Bubba Husky brings up the one with Bakula, Necessary Roughness,
right?
And this one, well, Best of Times, the one I'm thinking of. Okay, so Kurt Russell, and again, he looks like an athlete, right? Because he was an athlete.
He was, yeah.
So they're playing their rival, right? The bigger school, who always beats them. And in the beginning of the movie, they just go through how much Bakersfield kicks the snot out of whatever the town they were. I can't remember what town they're from. And Bakersfield beats them 73-0. It was all these horrible scores, right? And what dreadful thing happened to the town that year. So he goes, but this year we had Reno, whatever the hell his name was, right? And we were going to win. And he wore white shoes. You know, he was like Joe Namath, sort of, right? And so it's a 0-0 score. It's a raining mud storm kind of thing, right? And he goes, and he's hit. And he throws the ball. And his college career hopes are shattered because he was going to sign like a letter of intent. Because he shattered his knee on that last play, right? And he throws it up. And it's a beautiful throw. And there's some fifth string wide receiver running down wide open, waving his hand. And the ball hits him right in the hands, and we're going to win the game. And that son of a bitch dropped the ball. And then Robin Williams looks to the camera and goes, I am that son of a bitch. And the whole point was he wants to replay the game because it is stuck with him.
Oh, I vaguely remember
it. He married the biggest booster, meaning the booster club guy, not like stealing stuff. That's a term for stealing, too, if you didn't know. You know. Booster. Yeah. Booster club guy. It's kind of appropriate because most of the booster club do illegal things to bring college players. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so he marries that guy's daughter, who is the biggest Bakersfield. Like, he donates a ton of money to the Bakersfield football team. It's like his pet project. And he marries into that family, and the guy has the banks and stuff. He's rich.
Right.
And he tortures that guy. He tortures Robin Williams every day. Like, he goes and he looked at, and he goes with his hat, like gonna drop it. And he goes, here, catch. And Robin Williams doesn't like to catch anything because everyone in town brings up how he drops the ball. And so the whole goal is Robin Williams, right, goes out to this massage parlor once a week, not to fool around cheat on his wife, because he's cheap, right? And he doesn't want to get a therapist. So he goes out to this massage parlor, right? And he's laying there, and it's a girl he knows from high school, and he talks about that game once a week, every week, right? And so she goes, you know, you come in here, we don't do anything. She goes, that's fine. I don't even give you a massage. You pay me. Why? I feel like I'm your therapist. He goes, well, you are, right? She goes, I don't get you. Just play the game over. Because you can't play the game over. It's unnatural. She goes, unnatural. There is no such thing unnatural in the business I'm in. And so from that, he gets the idea, let's play the game over X amount of years later. And it's kind of a fun movie. And,
I vaguely remember that from my days with
the Times. And he's a football fanatic. And he's a horrible football player, right? And so they put the team back together, of the high school kids, because they made the rules. So he brings it to to his father-in-law, right? And he goes, and now he can't get any players back, right? Like Kurt Russell goes, are you out of your mind? I got my knee shattered. I can't throw the ball anymore. He goes, you can always, you're Reno, whatever the hell his name was in the movie, right? And so he gets Kurt Russell to come along with it. And the town's like, yeah, we don't want to replay the game again. And you're just going to drop the damn ball again. He's not. So now his father-in-law, right? He calls his father-in-law, and his father-in-law has like the whole team assembled, Ron, right? He's already raring to play, and these guys are like in good shape. They played semi-pro football, who played pro football, you know what I mean? Who were major college. So they're all good, right? And they had the one guy, Reno, right? So he goes, well, we're just raring to play here, Kurt, whatever the father-in-law's nickname. He goes, oh, that's too bad, Jack. Because, yeah, his name was Jack Dundee, the Robin Williams character. He goes, I can't get anybody. And he's got them all in the room. He goes, oh, are you calling off the game? He goes, no, we're not, jack off, right? He goes, we're all up for it. And here's everyone to say hi to you. So now he has to come up with this way to get the town revved up. So he basically graffitis the town, making it look like Bakersfield did it, right?
Right.
To say, look what they did, right? And that's how the town gets revved up to play the football game.
That's awesome.
It's a cute movie. I like it. I own it. I like it. So.
I gotta go in a couple minutes because it's 12:30.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're talking. The subject of Joe Namath came up at the family party.
Did you tell them who made Joe famous? Joe Namath famous?
No, I didn't know. We've talked about that story though.
I know, but Ron, for people who don't know, who made Joe Namath famous?
And so, my aunt, who's not a football fan, and my mother, who her husband was a football fan.
Yep.
I'm her son, so she knows all about my sports addictions. She knows who these people were. So they got talking about it, and my grandfather was a pretty conservative guy, and he hated Joe Namath. Fur coats on the sidelines. He hated Joe Namath.
Pantyhose commercials.
Right. Yeah, my mom talked about that, and
Remember
then
that?
we all talked about the kissing Susie Colbert and said, "I love you."
Oh, he was so drunk out of his mind that Monday night.
So when the market started to do the wobble thing a couple of weeks ago, I put on Bloomberg TV. I don't have the sound on because I don't really want to listen to it, but I want to look over and see what's going on. And so I'm looking up, and there's this. It's Joe Namath doing an ad for a Medicare supplement place. To get Medicare supplemental insurance.
I've not seen that one. Wow.
Can you imagine how far your career has gone from being one of the top pitchmen in the country to, hi, I'm Joe Namath. Do you need more insurance?
I know. It's strange, Ron. Because if you're the legs commercial, which were pantyhose, that came in
my mother worked for Legs in New Mexico.
Oh yeah.
She was 18,000 months pregnant from my sister, and her quota was 700 pairs in 8 hours.
Wow.
Now they were just sewing parts together,
but still
700 pairs.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But the legs would come in that egg-looking thing. Remember?
Yes, I do.
And they had, I'm pretty sure it was legs. Joe Namath did this commercial where you see the legs, and then it pans up, and it's Joe Namath. And the point was, and I guess some football players actually wore pantyhose because it kept them warm in cold games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was like spandex before spandex.
You go to a lot of those old stadiums before the domes and the footballing facility. Shea was terrible. The wind blew right off Flushing Bay, and you warmed or kept warm.
Hello, Todd B. How you doing, my friend? We're coming to a close here. The other weird, strange thing with Joe Namath is when you see him in a Rams uniform at the end, 1977, I think, 76, 77.
Yeah, and Bear Bryant isn't the answer to the question, but go ahead.
Oh, that's like seeing. There's two things that are strange. A few things, and back to a little sports talk. When you see Joe Namath in a Rams uniform with the helmet and he can hardly move, Johnny Unitas
in a Chargers
uniform, who's one of the nicest guys ever. One of my favorite stories, Johnny Unitas signed a 3-year contract to play for the Chargers at the end, 3 or 5 year, I can't remember. He was all done. And I think I've mentioned this way back when on one of our chats, or just me babbling on by myself. And he walked in after his first year was done or coming to an end with the Chargers. And he went to see the owner who loved Johnny Unitas, right? And he says, I'm going to retire, and you don't have to pay me any money. And the owner's like looking at him going, Johnny, what are you talking about? Because I can't play anymore. He goes, okay, so just tutor our quarterback. It was Dan Fouts. Dan Fouts took over for Johnny Unitas. I mean, there might have been someone in between where there's a quarterback competition, but Dan Fouts basically takes over for Johnny Unitas. Again, there might have been a little quarterback competition with the other quarterback, but and they go, Johnny, just make the money. And this was the most money he would have ever made in football, this final contract, because the guy loved him. They knew he was all done. I think that the Colts had cut him, right? It wasn't a trade. They cut him. And because there's no free agency really then that we know of now. And the Chargers signed him, and he's wearing, remember the high tops were baby blue? It just doesn't look right, right? And he went into the owners and he said, I can't play anymore. I don't want to take your money. And if I can't play, it's like robbing from you. And he basically himself voided out his contract. And the owner, I remember that they're telling that story on his biography, and the owner, not the owner, but somebody who knew Johnny, they said, the owner said, just sit on the bench, make the money. You deserve it. He said, no. And that's just an incredible football player, Johnny.
You know who else did that?
No, who else?
In the last 15 years? Keith Folk.
Really?
He went to camp. He knew he wasn't any good anymore. This is after the World Series, obviously.
Yeah, because he really wasn't. He was gone after.
Yeah, I think he went back to the Indians. So he'd signed him. He'd signed a couple-year deal, like you're describing. He goes to camp. He realized,
I didn't know that. Wow.
He says, "I can't do this anymore. Release me."
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys like that.
And so, and this was, he turned away $10-15 million doing that.
Ooh, Todd B. That's a lot of. Todd B. brings up a great one. Michael Jordan in a Washington Wizards uniform.
Oh, as far as people that wore the wrong uniforms, yeah.
That Babe Ruth
in a Boston Braves uniform.
Boston Braves, very strange looking.
Gretzky in any uniform outside of Edmonton and Los Angeles.
That's a good one. Oh, Bobby Orr.
Oh, the Hawks?
Yeah, for the Blackhawks. I have his card. I got to find that and show that one of these days. I got it downstairs somewhere. Those are good ones.
His brother-in-law stole so much money from him.
And it's horrible. That is a tremendous story. I don't know if we have time for the quick way of it. Was that his brother-in-law, or was that just his agent? And he trusted his agent like his
agent was a family member.
Okay. And who became the hockey union guy, the head, and he robbed from everybody.
Right. And
here's the story, and we'll end with this part, and then you can say your Bobby Orr ended up going to play for the Chicago Blackhawks after playing for the Bruins his entire career. He doesn't even finish the season. He's done. Right. I mean, he's hurt bad. And what people don't remember is he played in that Canada Cup when that all-star professional hockey team beat the Soviet Union, which was no joke, the Soviet Union in the day.
No, they were never a joke.
And he played absolutely awesome, and he had no cartilage in his knees, basically. And he played absolutely awesome in that. And that was his last hurrah, because he wanted to so badly play for the Canada Cup team, right? So Bobby Orr's agent, Bobby Orr, when his agent comes to him and goes, the Bruins aren't going to make a deal. He goes, what do you mean they're not going to make a deal for me? I've done all these things for them. They're not going to give me. And he thought it was a reasonable offer, right? And I don't know what the offer was. They go, no, they're lowballing you. This is the offer. And Bobby Orr got so pissed at the offer, he went to Chicago. Goes, trade me. Get me traded. Or whatever. I think it was a trade. I think it was a trade. He says, or maybe it was whatever. He goes to Chicago. He never went to a Bruins function. He was so mad at them, right? And then but he would still do local things in Boston because he loved Boston and the kids and all that. Years go by, right? And he wouldn't return phone calls to anyone in Bruins management or ownership. And they're doing a function. He'd see them and he wouldn't talk to them. Finally, one of the part owners, I think it was Ron, or a GM who walks up to him.
Senator Jacobs, yeah.
He walks up to him. He goes, Bobby, I got to talk to you about something. He goes, I have nothing to say. I'm paraphrasing the whole thing. The gist is, he goes, What? I don't understand why you're mad at us all these years. He goes, mad, you lowballed, and or being a gentleman all the time. I have friends of mine, relatives who met him, say he's a wonderful guy.
Everything I've ever heard about Bobby.
Wonderful guy. So he says, what are you talking about? That's not the offer. He goes, what do you mean that's not the offer? He goes, I never and then again, the owner, Jacob, says, I never understood why you didn't take our offer. It was a great offer. Now, it wasn't as much money, right? Because Jacob starts saying, he goes, they were gonna give Bobby Orr part ownership of the Bruins.
Right.
I mean, a minor, but he would have been set for life, right? That's how much they loved Bobby Orr. They just didn't want to pay him the money. They said, we're going to do this instead. And we sign you to this contract, which they knew he couldn't play, right? They knew he was done.
Right.
He goes, are you joking? He goes, no, we told your agent. Didn't he tell you? And that's when Bobby Orr found out. And he went to he goes, then they found out how much of a dirtbag. And then Bobby Orr felt so bad because he made that guy the head of the hockey union and he robbed the whole pension.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So
chunk of the team.
Yeah. Imagine that. And the reason why, because he wasn't going to get a percentage of that. The agent.
Right.
And he didn't tell him about it because he was going to get a percentage of the $1 million contract with the Blackhawks.
Bobby comes around here once in a while. I'm sure he does functions in your part of the world too. We'll come up here every once in a while. He'll get hired by some company and he'll do a speech and whatever. All very low key. Don't want any publicity. Yeah, I'll sign your stuff, but I don't want. But I'm not telling the public about it. I mean,
he's a great guy.
Even as a Canadiens fan, how the hell can you not love Bobby Orr? We had in the store I worked at, and I kicked myself for not getting it because they had it in my size. They had a 74-75 Bruins jersey, a replica, not the real thing.
Right.
Black. So I'm not sure when they made the transition.
That's his last year, right?
Last healthy year.
Yeah.
I don't remember what year they switched to the white at home, which is what I'm used to. And now, of course, it's all dark at home.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was a black Bruins jersey with Orr and 4. And on the shoulders was the Massachusetts Bicentennial patch.
Huh.
I kicked myself.
That'd be cool to have.
I would get something in from work, and that's what they would pay me with because it was all on the table.
Yeah.
And it's like, or the American plan, as they call it, or it's like I looked at that, and it's like nope, like I mean, I've got some nice stuff that I've paid for over the years. I got a nice Gretzky jersey. I got a nice Patrick Roy jersey. If they ever put out a Jean Beliveau jersey, I'm getting that. But the Orr one,
do you put them again? I know you got to go, but do you put them in frames, the jerseys, or no?
I wear them.
Oh, you wear? Okay, cool. No, I know some people put them in frames.
No, if it was a real one, if it was like a real authentic, these are replicas. I mean, they're expensive.
Gotcha. No, they're very expensive.
They're expensive, and they're if they were autographed, I would wear an autographed one. But if it's just one to wear around, they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
We used to we'll do this and then you do your send off. We play street hockey or not rollerblade, but hockey on the roller skates.
Hockeytournaments.com, by the way, if you want to find a tournament.
See how I threw that out to you, Ron?
Yes.
But we'd be going, score number 4, Bobby Orr. And we'd all do the replication of when they beat the Blues in 4 straight.
Yeah.
But the last game's in overtime.
Yep.
And he puts it in. He's being tricked.
Flying through the air.
He's flying through the air in his hand. One of the best photos in sports history. And we'd sit there and go, score number 4, Bobby Orr. The floor is yours, Mr. Ron Jucky. I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for joining us. And what's coming up on your channel?
Well, tomorrow we're going to do kind of a thank you. We finished the NFL 78 regular season replay. So people want to see some stats and stories about how their favorite teams turned out. We'll talk a little bit about the baseball replay to come and preview some of the football games that are coming up Tuesday and Thursday or Christmas night. We're going to do a football game, the NFC wild card, Thursday at noon, the AFC wild card. And you know what? Because Wednesday is Boxing Day, what an appropriate time to have a fight.
You should have a fight on Boxing Day.
So I'm going to do a fight on Boxing Day. So that's what I got coming up on Retro Sports Network this week.
Awesome.
In fact, it all returns on Saturday.
Thank you very much. And I'm just going to quickly go through the chat. Thank you, Moni G, Herb Pilgrim, Dog Show. Check him out tomorrow with Milt. Todd B, thank you. Bubba Husky. Phantomatic. Terry T. Bobby Cantilano. JD. And so many. JD. Yep, feel better. Manny. Thank you. Thank you. Beatles Eternally. Clinton Parks. Dave Gardner, who has what's that site again?
HockeyTournaments.com.
HockeyTournaments.com. Dave Little. No relation to Rich Little. No. Maybe.
Dave Little runs the wonderful sports simulations
on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yeah, and what is that one, Ron? Replay something.
Regardless of whether it's Madden or if you're playing Appa Master, you just want it all. It's all about sports replays.
Yep. So thank you, everyone in the chat. We greatly appreciate it. Bring your thoughts, as always, next time. Probably next Saturday, or we'll see. And we might do a midweek one. We're not going to do it every day. We're definitely going to be on New Year's Eve. And we're going to be on New Year's Eve. And if you're not doing anything, join me. I'll probably have the Stooges on there low so we don't get a copyright hit. And we'll do a countdown. I think that'd be fun. We'll be on, if you want to join the chat for New Year's Eve and reminisce. And
that's fun.
It's going to be fun. So we're going to be on there, and then again on Saturday. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, the chat. Health and happiness. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye. God bless. You know what's coming, folks. You know what's coming. Peace.